Pecorine's statue will be unveiled tomorrow morning in front of Bridgestone Arena at 10 a.m. Scott Wise, the creator of the statue, will join Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase at 1 p.m. today. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Crank City scores. On both sides of the one big possession. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game in the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. D-Mase, I'm sorry about your Spartans.
Yeah, it was a hard fought. That might have been the best game of the tournament thus far.
It was a good game.
That one was a back. That was all that reminded me of a championship game.
Just two really good teams gutting it out.
Coached really well, going back and forth. It was like, one hit a 3-pointer, the other comes down. One get a 2-pointer, the other one get a conventional 3-pointer, and one, the other team comes back and do the same thing. It was just, but K-State kept putting the pressure on Michigan State. Noel, that little kid, I call him a kid. He's a young man, excuse me. About the same age as my son.
I'm guilty of calling even NFL like rookies kids. I'm like,
But that young man, he's unbelievable. And that team plays off of his ability to penetrate and dish. His ability to penetrate. It's like everybody understands once he gets to the lane, everybody converge because either he's going to go up and you have an opportunity to get a rebound, or he's going to dish it off. Now, State played it pretty good the second half. What they started doing was, and you heard the commentators, Izzo was like, listen, let him penetrate. If he's going to penetrate, stay on. One man, stay on him because he's still going to have a hard time getting the ball off because of his height. Do not converge. Do not double team. And once they started doing that, it was harder for him to then dish the ball to other guys. You saw on several occasions where he got caught in the air, blocked shot. He wasn't able to get his shot off a few times. But you got to give it up to that. You got to get up to Noel. He fought through all of that, and still, he was the reason why K-State won that game, hands down. There's no other. No matter what Michigan State did, no matter how Tom Izzo tried to, put the pressure on him from a defensive standpoint, I can honestly say that it was because of Noel that K-State won that game. Nothing else.
It was a fun game to watch.
5 for 12 from 2, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 19 assists, 2 turnovers, 5 steals.
He did it by himself. He did him damn near by himself.
And I vote for the Wooden Award. I have now for 10 or 15 years. Keontae Johnson was the finalist. It wasn't Noel. Mm-hmm. But you watch this tournament, who's been more valuable?
Noel.
Noel's been the guy, right?
Yeah, because when he went out of the game, the Spartans went on a 12-2 run, something like that. And then the minute he comes back in the game, Noel stabilizes everything for K-State. And they went on a run themselves. So hats off to K-State.
Tough fought game, and it was a fun game to watch. Willy D, how we doing?
I'm doing well. It's March Madness. We got some crazy weather out there.
Yeah, it's like March Madness.
We need to get some
some
rain out of here, man. We got some baseball to get going here. Let's go. Spring sports. People need to get outside.
Nick Keyser is here as well. Nick, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Derek, that other crazy game last night was Gonzaga. Come on now.
Oh, what a great game.
That was a crazy ending.
What a great game. I was so glad to get home from the Preds game in time to watch that one unfold I watched I caught the last 10, 15 minutes live of the Tennessee game, and then that's how they stagger the games. You get to flip over, and then you watch Gonzaga. What an amazing series of games they've played, really, through the years. Every game. They showed Adam Morrison, who's now, I guess, the color commentator. You can't even recognize him. Gonzaga, he's got a totally different look than he did it back in the day. But I've seen 3 great matchups in the tournament between those two teams. Every one of them has been epic. And I thought Gonzaga was going to choke. Like, they had the game in hand. Up 10, total control, threw the ball away, gave up a 3-point. Like, all the things you don't want to do when you're managing the lead down the stretch, they did everything you don't want to do and still got away with it.
It was, I think there were 4 really, really fun games last night. And that's what you expect. Once you get to this level in the NCAA tournament, once you get to the Sweet 16, and it's just good team against good team, you want games like that come down to the wire, just 2 solid good teams. But I want to get to Tennessee FAU last night. Because yesterday we were breaking down this game, and even though FAU is not a bad team, I still looked at that game last night like that's a team that Tennessee should beat. Tennessee is a 4 seed, FAU is a 9 seed. Even though they had been playing well, I said Tennessee should beat this team. And whenever Tennessee beat Duke, I thought, okay, now this seems like the clearest path possible to the Elite Eight. Even though there's no gimmies, there's no cakewalks at this level in the NCAA tournament, I thought this is probably the best possible draw that Tennessee could have gotten to get past the Sweet 16. And last night, Tennessee struggled. Tennessee struggled in so many different areas. They could not get the ball through the hoop. It's something that I've noticed with Tennessee for so long. I noticed it against ULL in the first round of the tournament. I noticed it last night, that it just seems like whenever they need to get going offensively the most, and whenever you get down in the last few minutes of the game, I really noticed this last night, they just simply could not get the ball to the rim. Offensively, they struggled. Offensive rebounds, they struggled. Rebounds in general, they struggled. A team that Tennessee should have beaten and a game they should have won, and they didn't.
Yeah, well, this team, and I think we knew this. If you didn't, then, well, you found out last night. They have a hard time at scoring. As good as they are from a defensive standpoint, they are this slow pace, especially without Zakai Ziegler. They are this slow pace type of set up your offense. Everybody touches the ball, before we even make one shot. Sometimes everybody touches the ball twice before we shoot the ball. And when the other team is making shots, regardless of how good your defense has been, if you're not scoring under the court, it's going to eventually catch up with you. FAU shot, let me see, I was looking at it. They shot 29% from the three-point line. That isn't good. It's not good. But while they were missing three-pointers, UT was missing two-pointers. And they were not taking advantage of those three-pointers that FAU was missing. UT, it showed in this game. Beside Vescovy, who is it? Yeah. Is it Vescovy?
Vescovy went 3 for 9 from 3.
Beside Vescovy, they have no one. And I like Josiah, but he can't create off the dribble. He's not one of those guys. Vescovy, he can. He does a lot of moving around. He's unorthodox in a sense. He can't create off the dribble. But without Zakai Ziegler, they have no one that can consistently penetrate the lane and then dish out.
Vescovy has to try and play that role.
Exactly, and
he
it's not him.
Do it like Ziegler does.
It's not him. He tries. He does as good as as best as he can, but he's not Zakai Ziegler. I said yesterday, if FAU is making their three-pointers, that spells disaster for UT. Why? Because now I have to overcommit to the three-point, and I open up the lanes to drive and dish. And the second half, particularly the last 3 minutes of the game, when it was close and back and forth, that exact thing happened. where they started hitting their three-pointers here and there, and then they started to penetrate and started to kick out. And what did that do to a team that's much bigger than FAU? It brought them outside. Now when those shots go up, those 6'1 guards, those 6'2 guards, those 6'7 forwards, they're getting rebounds that they shouldn't be getting. And that's ultimately what lost UT the game.
We mentioned yesterday when we were setting up the matchup, and we had, again, our salute to Nick McDevitt, who really laid it out perfect. He said, look, he didn't say it in this many words, but coming out of that talk, if you were a Tennessee fan and you paid no attention to anything other than, well, this isn't a Power 5 team, so we should win, then that's shame on you, right? Because we said it. These teams are powerful teams. UAB, they just beat Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. If that didn't send up a warning flag, North Texas is another team that did really well. They may still be in it in the NIT. That's another team out of Conference USA. But Nick McDevitt said, don't pay attention. This FAU is just, if you think that's not Power 5, they are Power 5 level. But one of the things we pointed out is Tennessee's ability on the offensive glass, one of the best offensive rebounding teams. They got 17 offensive rebounds, partially because they missed a ton of shots. There's a lot of rebounds to get when you miss a lot, so you're going to get some. But Florida Atlantic held their own on the boards, even though they were undersized. We mentioned Tennessee is the best in the NCAA at defending the three. So 8 for 27 is not bad against Tennessee. That's better than teams normally get.
Best defense in the country.
But here's really the surprising stat. This is where FAU won the game, in my mind. 13 for 23 from 2 as an undersized. And that's what you're talking about, Derek. They got out. They had to get out. They were driving lanes open. Tennessee was a much bigger team, big size advantage. But Florida Atlantic was able to get inside and get buckets. And they were driving to the basket in transition. Down the stretch, they really took control. So this is to me, I know Tennessee fans will be really disappointed. You lost to FAU. It's a 9 seed. You should win. You're an SEC team. But without Ziegler, the way they played down the stretch, if I'd have told you, if you're Tennessee, that you were going to get to the Sweet 16 and lose, beat Duke in the second round, would you have taken it on, say, March the 1st?
Totally. I
mean, really, they salvaged what could have been a really bad slip, fade down the stretch. It's not a bad tournament. You just pointed out how important Ziegler is to the team, right? It seems like a bad loss today, but really, they went 5-7 down the stretch. They had no momentum going into the SEC tournament at all. Won 2 games in the tournament, beat Duke. That's not a bad tournament. I know it's not going to be super satisfying. I mean, based on the fact they were 18-3, they were, flirting with number 1 national championship aspirations. But with everything that happened, the injuries, especially to Ziegler, it all depends on your viewpoint of it. So I'm curious what Tennessee fans feel, especially in the coming weeks. Not today, because it's going to hurt today.
Of course. It absolutely is going to hurt today. But I think it was – because if you add in the injuries and everything, and I listened to Josiah Jordan-James in his post-game press conference, and he said, at this point, we've done everything that we can do. We have overcome so much adversity. And I think there's some of it that we know about and some of it that was probably stayed within the locker room. But I think that Tennessee fans look at it like you were able to beat Duke and really able to dominate Duke a good bit of that game without Zakai Ziegler, and then you come out and kind of lay an egg against Florida Atlantic just the game after beating Duke. You've shown us that you can do it without Ziegler. It's not easy, because Ziegler is that kind of player that you lose and your job gets that much more difficult. But the fact that they have shown that they could do it without him, but couldn't repeat that kind of performance they had against Duke, and if Tennessee fans are frustrated and upset, I don't blame them. But Willy made a point yesterday when we were breaking down this game, previewing this game, and I thought the idea was crazy, but I think Willy was actually right. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063, the game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Men, listen up, and I need to tell you something. I know it's raining outside, and that's not what I got to tell you because you already see that. I need to tell you about Cool Springs MD. More men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. There's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle, man. What are you waiting for? It is 11:14. So give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's just this mental, are you going to get up to play FAU when you're playing mostly Duke and Kentucky and Arkansas and Auburn? It's easy to get up for this. So for the SEC team, I think there's a mental, and I'm sure Rick Barnes is pounding that into their head. This team is 33-3. Do not sleep on the talent of this team. These guys are in the Sweet 16 for a reason. So is Tennessee ready to go mentally for that? Or, or is there a little bit of underdog? Because you know what's going to happen in that gym. Madison Square Garden, it's a long way from FAU. It's a long way from Knoxville, right? The neutral fans, who are they going to be rooting for? Not Tennessee.
No.
Not Tennessee. They're going to jump behind the underdog. FAU, this is awesome. You know, so that could happen tonight.
When Willie said that yesterday, I thought, Willie, you're crazy. It's the Sweet 16. You're in Madison Square Garden. You're in New York City. It's the biggest stage so far this season. If you need more energy to get up for that game, then I just can't help you. No matter if you're playing FAU, if you're playing Duke, if you're playing South Harmon Institute of Technology, it's the Sweet Freaking 16. How do you not get up for that game? But Willie, gosh darn it, I think that you were right. Because I listened to Rick Barnes' post-game last night, and this is what Rick Barnes had to say about his team.
Why'd y'all decide to stick with the 2 big lineup in the second half and not go 4 guards?
You know what? When you talk about games and substitution, we're around these guys so much, and we read their body language. We know where we feel like they are, and some of it has to do with that answer, not just on the offensive end, but it's the defensive end too. We had some breakdowns with certain players today that where we just felt like that they weren't locked in as much as they needed to be, and then some guys were in, arguably one of the biggest games of their lives, and you could just body language. We just didn't feel like they were locked in as much as we needed them to be, and you'd expect them to be, but it's a big stage.
Whoa.
Wow.
They weren't locked in. It's the Sweet 16. You're in New York City. How can you not be locked into this basketball game?
It happens. It's sports. It's really weird to me. Like, I'm sure Arkansas is probably asking the same question. They got blown right out of the water against, if you played that game over tonight, would it be different? Probably. It could be. That's why the tournament is so compelling. You get one shot. It's not a best of 3. It's not a best of 5. Mm-hmm. You got to bring it. You can't have the one bad game. And I'm telling you, I've been there. When you see FAU and you just played Duke, there is an automatic psychological, and even if you're telling yourself, even if your coach is telling you, don't sleep on these guys are 34-3. These guys are 33-3, whatever their record was. They're good. What's also weird about FAU is, unlike UAB, they don't have a bunch of transfers from Power Fives. This is a self-built team. This guy's done an unbelievable job with this group. So they just don't scare you on paper, but they are a really, really good team. I think they could win again. You look at the line. They're not going to be a 10-point underdog against Kansas State. It's going to be about a pick-em, 1-point game, guaranteed. They could go to the Final Four.
I think both of these teams, Kansas and FAU, it's a great matchup together because they both play sort of the similar style of basketball. They want to push it up. They have 2 guards that can, penetrate, get to the hole. They got guys that can shoot and are willing to shoot. FAU as well as K-State. I think this is why, and Willie's right. You can't, because even as a former athlete, you look at these guys on the stage and I'm thinking like, why can't you get up for this game? Like,
right.
Why? It's like, this is like, you lose and you go home. Mm-hmm. That should be the motivation. Like, I don't want to lose. But I know in situations sometimes, as much as you want your body to go, for some reason your mind and your body, they're disconnected for some reason, for whatever reason. Coach Barnes said he saw it in some of the guys. I think the main thing for why that was, if you look at the first half, the way UT played in that first half, UT was pretty much dominant. Yeah. UT exerted their will. They were a bigger team, the stronger team. They got the rebounds. The big fella from FAU just kept falling. I kept laughing. He and what's UT's big fella?
Plavitz.
Yeah, Plavitz. He and Plavitz was going, and Plavitz was looking like a NBA center with some of those moves he was making in the first half. He was just, the big fella was doing the things that he should have been doing against that team. And UT felt good about that. Like, okay, we feel good about what we're doing and going into half.
Up 9 with 4 minutes to go in the first half.
The shot, Plavitz hit, tips the shot in. They thought it got it before the buzzer. Just think if that goes in before the buzzer, UT's feeling good about themselves going in the locker room. They're thinking, okay, bam, let's put our foot on the pedal and let's lock down on defense and let's do this. Lo and behold, they were doing all of that from a defensive standpoint, but 2 things that were happening. One, even though they were doing that defensively, they were not scoring offensively. They were not. And then 2, FAU continued to play their game, no matter how many shots they were missing or anything. Sometimes you see teams get frustrated and then start throwing up shots because they just get frustrated and want a shot hit. No. FAU kept running their offense. They just kept doing what they were doing, penetrate when they can, kick it back out. You know, if I got the three-pointer, I may take it, but I'm going to swing it across to the next guy. They stayed within their game plan. I think UT got frustrated. The players got frustrated. Like, we can't get away from these guys. Like, no matter what we do, how fast, it's like the tortoise in the hare. No matter how fast we run, we look around and the tortoise is still there. Like, what in the hell is going on? Like Jason, like, no matter how fast I run, I turn around in the barn and there's Jason with the knife. Like, how did you get here?
That's exactly
My goodness.
it. That is a great analogy because this is the other thing I hit on yesterday. It's Madison Square Garden. You have fans from 4 different teams, not just your team and the other team, right? So I'm sure there was plenty of Tennessee fans, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that just are in the area, huge city, March Madness, probably just came and wanted to watch the games, wanted to see 2 good games. Who do they go to? That's the dynamic.
Underdog.
So you mentioned it, and I said this yesterday, but Florida Atlantic's hanging around in the game. They're behind, right? Tennessee's like, oh, we'll put these guys away. The bad guy's dead, right? Jason's dead.
He's gone.
Oh, wait a minute. They're not dead. Wait a minute. There's 15 minutes left. They're not dead. They're still hanging around. Remember, Tennessee was only, a 4, 5, 6-point favorite at the most? So it's not like they're up there a 15-point favorite. So they weren't that much better on paper to begin with. But it's Tennessee. It's an SEC team against an unknown non-Power 5 team. How many people from New York, if you just lived in New York and you went to the game, even knew exactly what city Florida Atlantic was in? North Florida, South Florida, Central Florida?
What city Florida Atlantic is in?
I mean, it's Boca Raton. It's South Florida. Only because I've been there. I did a game there because I was doing Belmont games for a year. Have I ever been there? But you see what I'm saying. So now there's 10 minutes to go. Florida Atlantic starts making their move. They start a run. What happens to Tennessee? Oh, man, get a little tighter. Not a great shooting team to begin with. They get a little tight. What's going on in the crowd? Ooh, Tennessee. Here comes Florida Atlantic. Who are they rooting for? Kansas State fans. They're sitting there going, wait a minute. Who do we want to play, Florida Atlantic or Tennessee? They're jumping on the Florida Atlantic bandwagon. So that's what swirls around. That's what makes the March Madness upsets great because I think there's that psychological element. And then the last 5-10 minutes, Tennessee was done. They couldn't make a shot.
They had
no answers.
I was watching just in complete bewilderment at how I felt like there was, when you put 2 magnets together and they just don't go together. I felt like that was with the rim and the ball, but just for Tennessee. It was like every single shot attempt that they put up, it was like there was a force field around the rim and the ball just did not go in, and you could tell. To Rick Barnes' point, you could tell in the body language. It was just like their shoulders were like, come on. Like, seriously? Like, they just had all of this electricity going through that entire locker room going into the half, and they just completely lost it in the second half.
And what happens to Florida Atlantic? They get looser. They feel the crowd behind them. They're feeling the momentum. They start making plays. Like, we could beat these guys.
Yeah.
They already had the chip on their shoulder. They weren't supposed to be there, right? But that's the other part that happens. Not only does Tennessee get tight, but you could tell Florida Atlantic started feeling it down the stretch. I mean, every time they make a basket, boom, their bench is going wild. Then they get the flagrant foul. They get to shoot a couple. Yeah, I mean, it starts snowballing a little bit.
What were you too surprised? Because as I'm watching that game, and I was surprised because of, that's like saying, okay, you have Alabama in football playing against, I don't know, some non-Power 5. Yeah, some
Appalachian State.
Yeah, Appalachian State or Akron.
Appalachian State,
they pulled a few upsets.
They're giant killers, yeah.
Let's say somebody like Akron, I don't know. And that from in the trenches, Alabama always have these offensive linemen that are just behemoth, and they're going to be first-round draft picks. Then you look at Akron, and you're like, man, they got a bunch of
jabronis.
Yeah, just guys that are 250,
just
looks like linebacker,
different level of player.
But they're
David
playing but they're playing on the defensive line. And you're wondering why when Alabama runs the ball, and it's like, why isn't Alabama able to get yardage on this team that is so much smaller than them. It's like you can't. It's like why aren't they playing up to their level? To me, that's what UT was, because in that last stretch, like 3 or 4 minutes of the game, you had a team that was much bigger than FAU all around, with the exception of FAU center. He was pretty big. But other than that, you had a much bigger team from 1 to 5, meaning the 2 guards, 2 forwards, and centers. Why were they not able to penetrate as much in the last 5 minutes? That's what I was wondering. Like, why can't they get to the hole? Because I watched the Michigan State and Kansas State game, and Kansas State is a physical team, big team. Michigan State is too, but Michigan State was going to the hole. Kansas State was going to the rim. Even though, yeah, you may be bigger or guys that are going in may be smaller, but I'm still going to the hole, because if I go and make contact, at least I'm gonna get a foul. UT they were not penetrating enough going to the basket in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. And I'm thinking, y'all are a much bigger team than them. At least get the foul, but they shot 50-something% from the foul line too. You can't win in that fashion either.
And it's another year under Rick Barnes where it feels like there is so much left on the table for Tennessee basketball in the postseason. So how are Tennessee fans feeling about Rick Barnes today? We'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063, The Game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchesne, and this is Smashville.
Drummond down the left side with Duchesne. Duchesne scores! Matt Duchesne with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Get a great deal on one of the most versatile tractors in the industry, the Kubota L, which is part of Kubota's tractor lineup, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Stop by Krebs Kubota today to bring home select L Series equipment for $0 down. 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800. Now through June 30th, see Krebs Kubota or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer. Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Online at KrebsKubota.com.
Curation CBD, a Pick-10 company, offers high-quality, lab-tested CBD products curated for life for both you and your pet.
Hi, I'm Adam Intihar, also known as the Dog Father of Nashville. Curation 600 milligram CBD roll-on really helps me get through my training days. Applying it in the morning and again at night helps me take bites from dogs like Zulu or go on adventures with dogs like Lieutenant Dan. Curation is awesome.
Discover the full range of Curation products online at CurationCompany.com.
Our diamonds are direct from the source, direct from the cutters. There's no middlemen, there's no markup.
Meet Ben Wilkes, 10-year jewelry professional at Genesis Diamonds.
We've got everything from half a carat all the way up to 15 carats and everything in between. So I never have to go looking for something.
And if you're in search of that one-of-a-kind designer ring.
Lots of times they come in and she's got a very specific picture, something that she wants, and she's shocked and amazed when I go right to a case and pull exactly what she's been looking at out.
And beyond the best price and selection, every customer at Genesis gets one-on-one personal attention with no hidden agenda.
Every customer that I've ever worked with has my personal cell phone number. It doesn't come from an automated system. It is person-to-person interaction. We're not on commission, so what that means is regardless of what you buy or don't buy, I'm paid the same.
Genesis Diamonds.
Here you get more, you get bigger, better, you get prettier. The quality, the selection, transparency, customer service, it can't be touched. It's unmatched.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not.
1025 and 1063 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 1025 and 1063 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 The Game.
We've been through so much in the past, however long the season's been going on. And I feel like a lot of people don't know all the things that we've been through internally. And so even to make it this far, is a blessing. I mean, people had counted us out after the second game that we lost to Colorado. They told us our season was over then. But we didn't hear any of that. We heard it, but we didn't listen to it. We stayed resilient, and I think that if you guys or everybody outside of our locker room knew all the things that we went through, they'd be, proud of us. I know we're proud of ourselves. We know we wanted more, but there's so much stuff that went on that, injuries and people in and out the lineup where a lot of people would just quit. But I give a lot of credit to my teammates and our coaching staff. Nobody in that locker room gave up on us, and I'm just so proud of my guys that we were able to reach it. Obviously, I'm disappointed, but I'm proud that we were able to come this far.
That was Josiah Jordan-James after Tennessee fell to Florida Atlantic in the Sweet 16 last night. And Derek, I'm not pleased with what Josiah Jordan-James had to say.
No, I'm not. And listen, I don't know exactly what they went through inside. In every locker room, there are things that teams go through that some make it out, some doesn't. But it is what it is. And I know what he's saying, and I get that part. And, there might have been some things, so I'm not insensitive to that. But to me, just excuses. That's what it is. To me, I'm not going to, if I'm a head coach, it's like, hell, we understood what we were going through. We didn't use that as a crutch or an excuse internally. So I'm not going to make that a crutch or an excuse externally to everybody else. If I'm preaching as a coach and player that no matter what we do, we got to continue to fight, then I'm not going to once we lose, make an excuse, tie that into potentially why, if y'all knew what we went through, y'all would be, y'all would wonder, well, how did y'all make it this far? Every team just about can tell you a story about what they were going through. Alabama, of all people, can tell you a story about, and it was that stuff that they brought upon themselves, but they got to go through it. So to me, yes, you have things that you're going through, but we lost to a better team. We didn't play well. It has nothing to do with the things because if that's the case, we wouldn't have beat Duke. We wouldn't have won our first round game. We wouldn't have made it to the tournament. So when you lose, to me, it's just me. Let's not start. It's like now it's okay to insert the excuses once you lose, or insert, if y'all knew what we were going through during the season, y'all would be clapping and jumping up for joy, that we made it this far. Well, why didn't y'all make it further? That's just me. And listen, you can hate me for what, but all I am going to do is give you my opinion, my truth. And whether you agree with it or not, it's fine. Do that. But as an athlete, I'm not going to get up there and say, well, if y'all, especially if we've come this far, well, if y'all knew what we went through and this and that and that and this, y'all will understand. And I'm just proud of our guys. We made it this far. Yeah, I am proud we made it this far, but we should have made it further. That didn't stop us from getting here. I'm not going to use it as an excuse for why we didn't win the basketball game. That's just me.
I think it's a tough position to be in as a team leader because you feel like you're on the defensive, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's coming at you right after you lost, and you just played your hearts out, right? You just lost. Your season's over. I don't know what's next for him, right? Mm-hmm. Who knows? The way people transfer, think about going pro, and there's anything can happen. We know this, that almost never do you come back with the exact same team in college basketball anymore. It just doesn't happen, right? Every team's different. So this team's novel is done, and it was quite a story, right? So he is trying to defend his team the best he can right there, and that's what he chose to say. I mean, he's, 20, 21 years old? I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's a kid for the most part, so it's not an easy spot to be in. So he just said what was on his mind. I'll say this. This is just me from the outside. I watch a lot of SEC basketball. I watch Tennessee play a lot. I saw a team that really struggled for about a month. I mean, coming into practice, they had guys hurt. They lost their best playmaker. I would bet you if you polled the Tennessee fans who watch them every night, did they think they were going to the Sweet 16? I will bet you the vast majority would have voted no. Yes or no? Did they make it to the Sweet 16? A vast majority would have said no way.
Not because of their injuries,
Duke,
because of Barnes.
No, because well, all things considered, okay? You place the blame wherever you want to place it, okay? But did that look like a Sweet 16 team to you down the stretch? Didn't look like it to me.
No.
They were struggling a lot. They got to the Sweet 16. So I think that was a good salvage under the circumstance. I think that's what he was trying to say there. That's all.
I think that if you asked me my evaluation or expectations for this team after the ULL game, I would have said I expect their butts to get whooped against Duke.
Yep.
And then they did what they did against Duke. And then the expectations changed. My perception of that team changed.
But it was the same guys.
Same guys. But they showed me
What
that they
changed,
could do
though?
it. They showed me that they could do it without Zakai Ziegler, because they went 4-6 at the end of the season without Ziegler, and then they lost to Missouri in the SEC tournament. It was a very lackluster performance against Louisiana Lafayette. So I thought, okay, maybe this team just doesn't have it. This team just cannot do what they did with Zakai Ziegler, and then they showed me that they could. The way that they played against Duke, I thought they could have beaten any team in the country. They dominated Duke. And Duke even said after that game, they said, Tennessee's the most physical team we've played all season long. Maybe that has more to say about the quality of the ACC and not as much of a testament to Tennessee. But I think the truth remains that Tennessee was a good basketball team with and without Zakai Ziegler. They proved to me that they could do it without Zakai Ziegler. And then they fell back into what they were against Louisiana Lafayette, against Florida Atlantic. And so I'm not even a Tennessee fan, but I was getting frustrated. And I'm sure Tennessee fans felt the same way of, you showed us you could do it. And coming off of that performance against Duke, where they could have beaten anyone in the country, and you come out and do that, where's the fire? Where's the motivation? I know you're missing your guy. I know that Zakai Ziegler is with a cast on his leg on the sidelines. I know that hurts. But keep going, keep playing, because we've seen that you can do it, but they just didn't.
They didn't have Zakai Ziegler before they entered the tournament. They knew they were not going to have Zakai Ziegler. I'm only looking at this based upon what Rick Barnes said in the press conference. This is a team that continued to play really good defense throughout the tournament. Even last night, majority of the night, they played really good defense. I think FAU just frustrated them because FAU wouldn't go away. So they continued to play good defense in that game. This is where I say, well, I understand what you're saying in regards to what you guys have been going through or whatnot. Had Rick Barnes not said what he said, then I can buy a little bit more into what you're saying, Josiah Jordan. But Rick Barnes said the game just seemed too big for a few of them, and he saw it in their face. He saw it in their play.
That's a problem.
That has nothing to do with what's going on in the outside world. That has everything to do with what Rick Barnes said. The moment just got too big, and it happens to even some of the great ones. If they're freshmen or their first time, in the big game, or their first time in the Super Bowl, or their first time in the NBA Finals, or NHL Finals. Even the great ones sometimes, have that moment where it just overwhelms you. That has nothing to do with anything else. Because you continue to play hard-nosed defense throughout the whole game. That's just who you are. So had Rick Barnes not said that, then I can buy a little bit more into what Josiah Jordan James said. I can buy more into that. But Rick Barnes said it. Like, at a point, he looked at his team, and there were guys that looked like the moment was too big for them. And that's why you didn't win, because the lights got too bright. And instead of you fighting through it and becoming big and understanding this is a, winning you move on, losing you gone. Instead of doing that, you shrunk in the moment. It's kind of like that cheap shirt when you throw it in the dryer. It shrinks. That's what you did. You shrunk.
100% cotton.
Exactly. You shrunk. And Rick Barnes said it. He said it.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's,
so
when the moment is too big for you, that's a problem.
I still go back to what would you have thought would happen in the tournament when they went to the SEC tournament? Were they a Sweet 16 team? I think if you polled basketball fans and Tennessee fans, what would the vote have been?
I had them losing. I had
not
them
a
losing
Sweet
to
16.
Duke, not because of them not having Zakai Ziegler or anything else. I'm just looking at the history of Rick Barnes and the teams that he's had, and they've always come up short. So I'm banking on that, not necessarily
they weren't the same team. They weren't the same team.
I understand that.
They beat Texas on January 28th when they were healthy and they were rolling to go 18-3. They had wins over Texas. They had wins over Kansas. They were arguably the best team in the country. But it just shows you it's a long season. The injury started happening. They lost Ziegler. They were 5-7 down the stretch. They weren't the same team. So to get to the Sweet 16, it all depends on your point of view, is my point. To me, I would not have thought they were going to make it to the Sweet 16. Give them credit. They made it.
And Derek hit on a point about Rick Barnes that I think is fair. And I've seen the Tennessee fans, and they're crying about Rick Barnes, and it's justified. I understand it. And I'm going to get into that coming up next. And I see your phone calls. We are right to your phone calls coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Nashville Sounds are back in Hit City for baseball season. Join us at First Horizon Park, March 31st for opening day as the Sounds take on the Louisville Bats. Stick around for post-game fireworks Friday or family fun all weekend. Tickets are available now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Hi, this is Warren Moon, 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback and member of the Tennessee Titans Ring of Honor and Pro Football Hall of Fame. On the field, I always wore a helmet and pads to make sure I was protected. Life is no different. That's why I got vaccinated and boosted against COVID-19. Protection keeps you in the game. Talk to your doctor and get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19 today.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee. Experience the crisp, clean, smooth, and refreshing pure agave flavor of Dulce Vita Tequila. Dulce Vita Tequila is made using only 100% USDA certified organic blue agave that is harvested from Los Altos, Mexico. Dulce Vita Blanco is additive-free and gluten-free. Try it for yourself. 1.5 ounce of Dulce Vita Blanco Tequila, 4 ounces of sparkling water, and a squeeze of lime for a delicious ranch water cocktail that is less than 100 calories. Dulce Vita Tequila, pure and simple.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose.
I don't want college football to be the NFL.
When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Joe, 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Souls for Souls on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together, come play with athletes, musicians, and a bunch of other local celebrities to support a great cause, and you'll have loads of fun doing it. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes, so sign up today, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf. The people have tuned in, unless we have a thought.
Let's go.
To the phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you have a thought. Adam is on the line. What's up, Adam?
Hey, I love that y'all are talking about the Tennessee men's team. I'm going to lean toward agreeing with D-Mase on this one. Look, if we zoom out, love Coach Barnes. After the Donnie Tyndall fiasco, Tennessee basketball is fortunate to have Rick Barnes. Okay, we get stability. We get a lot of years of wisdom. At times, I do question if he has that dog in him that we need. You know, X's and O's stuff, I wish Coach Barnes would protect Tennessee basketball on these 15-2 runs. That can't happen. Another thing is Olivier Comwell can't have 3 attempts. Best player on the team, like he needs to be getting looks. Our offense, look, we're running this read offense, where if the guys don't make the right read, it just looks like jumbled up offense. We got the 2 posts coming away from the basket, and you're asking the big guys to make a lot of decisions. When Ziegler goes down, you know, that doubles up. You're asking big guys away from the basket to make decisions with the basketball. Another thing on this is, as much as I love Coach Barnes, hey, excuses are for losers. And when you're around high-performing people a lot all the time and somebody makes an excuse, it's like, oh, my gosh, everybody stop what you're doing and look at the dude making excuses. So excuses are for losers. We're not about that excuse lifestyle. You know, there's a standard, and I think Coach Barnes has actually helped establish that standard. Love Coach Rick. Don't want him to go anywhere. Would love to see him protect these young players on these runs. You know,
yeah, thanks for your call, Adam. All very fair points. Thanks for your call, Adam. I appreciate you calling in. I think that's kind of how the general consensus of Tennessee fans feel and how I feel about Rick Barnes. He's not going to get fired, and he should not get fired.
No.
The kind of person that Rick Barnes is, the respect that he commands in the basketball world, the fact that I feel like at the start of every basketball season, and it's almost guaranteed that Tennessee's going to the tournament, like that's a privilege. That should not go unnoticed. That Tennessee will always be a well-coached team as long as Rick Barnes is coaching it. That Tennessee will always have really solid recruiting classes and a collection of 5 stars as long as Rick Barnes is recruiting for Tennessee. But I don't blame them for having those frustrations. Because if we're going to look ahead to next year, does anyone have any different thoughts about how far Tennessee could go? Because I have no reason to believe that Tennessee could go further than a Sweet 16 because Rick Barnes hasn't done it.
See, that's where I disagree. I just think every year is different. Every tournament's different. And when we're talking about one game, one game seasons to advance, survive and advance, the right collection of guys, it's got something to do with the coach for sure, but it's just really about how you're playing at the end of the season. There was a long time where Roy Williams had that stigma. Well, he can't win the big one. He can't do it, but they just keep getting back there year after year after year, and they eventually broke through at Kansas, and they went to North Carolina, and now you never hear about that anymore. There was a point in time where it changed. So he just needs the one run. So I just don't think a coach, you can say that when we're talking about a tournament where we're talking about 3 or 4 games. One game, one big buzzer beater could change the perception of everything.
But I don't think it's necessarily that in a sense, because if you look at the teams that he has had, even a team that lost to Purdue that year, I mean, that was a team. That team was stacked.
Grant Williams,
and Purdue was good, but man, they were not. They shouldn't have won that game against that stacked UT team. And what happened? UT lost for whatever reason. You can blame it on Barnes. You can blame it on the play. It went down to the wire. Yes, you can blame it on for not wanting to go in the game, which I was livid. Like, how the hell are you going to be one of the best players and say, well, no, I don't want to go in the game. Let somebody else go in the game. Hell no. No, I'm in the game. I don't care how tired I am.
Screw teamwork.
This is the last shot. I'm in the game. And you took yourself out? Nah, bruh. Can't go with that. So that's one of those situations where, as a head coach, those things matter, man. Like, you are the second best player. Schofield. you are the second best player on our team. If I'm the head coach and you say, no, I don't want to go. No. The hell you not. You better get your butt in the game. No, we need to win this. You don't say I'm going to sit down. So that's one of those things as a head coach. Like, that's one of those things why people in the world of UT, they love Barnes. They don't want him fired. But when they get in the tournament, they only see them going so far because of stuff like that.
And we now have a 6-year sample size of that.
Exactly.
Going back to 2018.
Rick Barnes is a really good coach. He should remain at UT as long as he want to remain at UT. But in that, unless some things change, UT fans are always going to say, well, he can only get us so far. We're only going to go so far. Now, if we go past that mark, great. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to love it. But in our expectation is, well, maybe Sweet 16. That's the most. And that's great.
Yeah.
Because some teams ain't even getting in the tournament.
I'd love to go to the Sweet
16. It's not easy to get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's great. But eventually, just like Roy Williams, Kansas said, listen, we love you, Roy, but we got to move in another direction. Roy goes to Carolina. What happens? He wins the championship. Bill Self comes to Kansas. Bill Self wins the championship. So it's a win-win for both parties. But eventually, as much as we love you, we see what everybody else see. For whatever reason, we got to do something. And I'm not suggesting that Rick Barnes, because I said Rick Barnes, he's stabilized that program, and they're a good program, but they just need to find a way to get over that hump.
And that's gonna be the reputation or the monkey on Rick Barnes' back until it's not anymore, until he can get past that mark. Tony is on the line. What's up, Tony?
Hello, y'all. Good afternoon. Billy knows this, and maybe y'all know it. I am a Vanderbilt fan. But I was with last night a couple of UT fans, including my brother, watching the game. And, they said this. They said being a UT fan, this is their perspective. They're getting tired of being so close. They said we were in baseball, we were in football, and now here we are again in basketball, and we can't get over the hump. That's covering the three sports that they were talking about. Now, as far as the game, and I told them, let me say this about Vanderbilt. We got enough of problems on West End. We don't need to worry about UTs. I know that too. But we just want to get the tournament. But as of last night, I thought in the second half, and we were talking about this, Florida Atlantic took the fight to UT. Florida Atlantic played with more of a sense of urgency than UT. And UT looked lost at times, and numerous times. Did y'all ever notice that Rick Barnes was just standing there with his hands in his pocket and just watching like a spectator and not coaching? Did y'all see that?
Thank you for your call, Tony. I appreciate you tuning in.
I never look at the way they're moving. They're the Hurley brothers. Are they better coaches because they are the most animated? I just don't equate movements of a coach with the level of the coach. Like everybody's got their own demeanor. So I don't think that's it. It's hard to win. That's the only thing I try to defend, regardless where we're talking college basketball, any other sport. It's hard to win. People think it's supposed to be easy just because you're there. It raises the expectations. I do think if you get there enough times, you will break through.
To me, it's not even the hard to win because I know exactly it is. But when your head coach says, it seems as if the moment was too big for some of our guys, that's where it's like, okay, are we going to run into this every year where the moment is too big for this guy or this guy or this guy? How do you coach them out of that situation? Do you play them more minutes during the season? Do you put them in more situations where it's tough for them and they got to work their way through it? What do you do as a head coach? I always defer to Izzo, and I heard the story last night where his guys came in and said, Coach, we don't need no transfers. We can do this. We got it. And Izzo listened to his guys. He said, okay, we're not going to do it. We're going to let y'all play. And they played. They didn't make any excuses or anything. They went out there and played. Why? Because Izzo understood, like, listen, this is what my guys want. and they're going to prove me right. And they did, but they end up losing. But they did. Rick Barnes has to find a way to make sure what he said yesterday doesn't happen again moving forward with any of his players.
And Willy, to your point, it's hard to win in a tournament.
Yeah.
But whenever you get there every year, and whenever you have top recruiting classes every year, whenever you're one of the best teams in college basketball every single year, the expectations raise.
That's the knock on Coach Cal.
Exactly. I think there are a lot of upset Kentucky fans that want more out of that Kentucky basketball
You can't
program.
get any higher expectations than Kentucky because they just think they're supposed to win because the jersey says Kentucky. I'm just giving you the reality is it's hard to win. Well, I don't care if you're Kentucky or anything else. I mean, it's just because you have the best fan base doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to win. It is so competitive. There's 360 Division I teams now. So I don't know. To me, if you get there every year and you have a chance to win, you're doing your job, and sooner or later, you'll have everything come together.
If you want to win a pair of tickets to go see Bad Flower at Brooklyn Bowl on April 1st, then be caller 3 now. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, that is a pair of tickets to see Bad Flower at Brooklyn Bowl on April 1st. Good luck with that. Coming up next, some more movement around the league and still nothing from the Titans. Should we be concerned? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Titleist. Check out the new Pro V1 golf balls designed for longer distance, more consistency, and unrivaled control. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and elevate your game with the new TSR Woods, engineered faster, longer, and straighter. Come in and get custom fit for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, unmatched service, unmatched expertise.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and season tickets for the Preds 2023-24 season are on sale now. Preds will be celebrating their 25th anniversary throughout next season. Full half and quarter season plans are available, and you can join the Loyal Legion today and receive the best seat locations at the best pricing and up to 50% off discounts on concessions throughout the season and more. Plus priority access to the 2023 NHL Draft and Awards, which are hosted right here in Nashville coming up this summer. Check it out at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
Now, your Game Center update.
This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Nick Keyser. The Nashville Predators took down the Seattle Kraken 2-1 last night. No thanks to Philip Tomasino, who scored the game winner. Here's how it sounded on the Preds radio network.
Tomasino comes in down the right side, hesitates, he scores! Predators win it! The Predators win in the shootout here tonight.
Nashville will take on Seattle once more tomorrow with puck drop at 1 p.m. with pregame at noon. Pekka Rinne's statue will be unveiled tomorrow morning outside Bridgestone Arena at 10 a.m. The madness of March continued last night. Julian Strother hit a shot from the logo with 7 seconds to play, going up 78-76, taking down UCLA. Gonzaga advances to back-to-back Elite Eight appearances. And FAU took down the Vols last night, scoring 40 points in the second half, winning 62-55. The Owls have now advanced to their first Elite Eight appearance in school history. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. It had a couple of big plays.
Oh, man, Yossi scores!
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. So, throughout all of free agency, I never really expected the Titans to make some big, flashy move, any move that sends shockwaves throughout the NFL. I thought it was going to be a very modest and quiet free agency for the Titans, and it has been for the most part. But I expected the Titans to at least address positions of need. They needed a left tackle. Go out and find Andre Dillard. Great, fine, wonderful. Needed a guard. You go out and find Daniel Brunskill. Bring him in. Great, wonderful. You need a linebacker. You get Azeez Al-Shaair. Great, wonderful. You fill those needs. Modest contracts, not a whole lot of term, not a massive amount of money. You bring in those guys that Rand Carthon has, for the most part, experience with, and great, wonderful. You fill those holes. But there is one hole and one position of need that is desperate for depth, desperate for a veteran, and that's the wide receiver core. And that's not a position group that they have addressed in free agency yet. And I've been stressed about this. And so TD was on with Jared yesterday for the TD Power Hour. And of course, Jared's stressed about it. Jared's always stressed about something. And he was like, talk me off a ledge. You know, what should I do? What are the Titans going to do? Please tell me that I can at least sleep at night knowing that the Titans are doing something with wide receiver. And TD said, I cannot help you with that. So that's where we are now. But and we knew that the longer the Titans wait, the smaller and smaller the free agency pool will get. And the free agency pool is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as minutes tick on. Because we just saw that DJ Chark has signed with the Panthers, and we just seen that Nelson Aguilar has signed with the Ravens. Now, neither of those guys would have made me, jump up and down and, with glee if the Titans signed either of those guys. I think they're, pretty average wide receivers in the league. DJ Chark has had some injury issues. He's been on and off the field. I didn't really want the Titans to sign a DJ Chark or a guy like that who they wouldn't be able to rely on. But the truth remains that the free agency pool for the wide receiver position is getting smaller and smaller and smaller by the day. And by the day, I continue to ask the question with more and more urgency as time goes on, is who in the world is going to be catching passes for the Titans this season?
Well, who do you want that's out there?
I don't know.
That's the answer. If you don't know, then that shows you who's out there.
It's not my job to know.
Well, you know what I'm saying. But you see the names. I see the names too. It's not a good list. Who do you want? Nelson Aguilar? You want him?
Well, I can't get him now. He's with the Ravens.
Well, he was out there a couple of days ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, the list is dwindling, but it's a list of guys that are like, did you want Adam Thielen for the number he signed for?
Well, Adam Thielen's 1,000,000 years old. No.
He got more money than any of the guys that are still on the list are going to get, right?
But that's not a move that I would have made.
Okay, so who do you want? That's what I keep coming back with. There's nobody out there other than maybe you get a guy. If you wait it out, you get a guy who is at a good price. I'm talking about the free agents. Or you got to trade for a guy that's probably 30 or 31, costs a lot of money that you have to give up a lot of assets to get. So it's not an easy position to be in.
It's not an easy position to be in. And if my options are, go with a rookie receiver and find a receiver in the draft versus overpay for a veteran, I probably would go with running it back with a rookie. I would say, it's not going to be the greatest pass-catching core in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think this team is in a position to overpay. But how much can you really expect from a wide receiver core if it's a second-year Treylon Burks who struggled to stay on the field this past year and a rookie that you draft in whatever round they choose to draft a wide receiver? It's not a comfortable position that the Titans are in now.
So do we want Chark? You want DJ Chark?
Well, he just signed with the Panthers.
There you go.
Panthers,
all right.
yeah. I mean,
but did you want him? Did we mention him? Like, hey, let's go get DJ Chark.
I mean, for the right money, I mean, you bring him in and it's a 1-year deal. And, if you want to pay him $2-3 million on a 1-year deal, then you bring him in. You're not bringing him in to be the savior of the wide receiver core. You're bringing him in to be an addition.
To catch just catch passes.
And him being 6'4", they say he's cleared. He's fully healthy going into the season. He's once a Pro Bowler. He's a big presence in the red zone. So that could have been a guy that, the Titans could have brought in. But I think the Titans see this position again. We're not going to overspend. We want to make sure when we do spend, we're getting the value in the money. Like if we go out and get a DJ Chark, I'm not paying him $6-7 million. No, I will pay you $3 million for a year, and we expect more so to get the production out of you at $3 million than to pay you $7-8 million, and we get 600 yards, 700 yards. Well, that's not the production we want at $8 million. That's great at $3 million. You know, you get 6 touchdowns. That's great at $3 million. But $8 million, that's not good, you know.
And what's the budget? That's the other thing that the Titans are trying to consider. They don't have a lot of extra money right now.
Yeah, but
so they have to go for the budget guys. They have to shop at the the bargain store.
Yeah, but people shouldn't
you get
panic.
bargain store results if that's what you want to go with.
But
that's what they've done so far.
No one should panic right now. Again, we talked about this yesterday, Carolina, right before Willie got in, that we know March championships are not won in March. We understand that. But teams are built to win championships starting, right after the season's end. Whenever your season ends, that's when teams start to look to regroup and replenish and restock their teams. They don't take, months off and say, we'll get back to it in March. No. In late January, February, teams are trying to do things to make their team better, whether it be on paper, they're trying to decide from a salary cap standpoint what we need to do to make our team better. So when free agency does come up, we're ready to hit the ground running. So to me, don't panic. They've done some things within the last month to help their team be better. They're going to continue to do things that they believe they're going to help their team better. And one of those things is they're going to get a wide receiver or 3. Don't worry about it. They're going to draft maybe 2 of them. They're going to go get some more in free agency. People, there will be more guys on the market post-June. Now, the pool may not look great, but there are going to be guys on the market that can help them achieve what they want to achieve. It may not be the flashy names or whatnot, but it's going to be guys that can play a role on this team. John Robinson said it when he was here. Mike Vrabel says it now. Rand Carthon will reiterate it and regurgitate it and say it. We are always looking to make our team better.
Yeah.
So, Jared, don't panic.
I think that's.
I think you always panic.
I think
about
that's
everything,
a little bit
but
where
don't panic about the receivers.
We know that. I think that's where I'm coming from. Is that I think you said on it. Let's give them time, and let's see where it is in training camp. Like I wasn't sitting there. I haven't sat there with any part of me yet where a guy has signed like Thielen or Chark. These guys we just brought up and said, "Oh man, why didn't the Titans go get this?" The remaining guys really aren't that different. And I know everybody's saying, well, we don't have anybody. Like, give me a live body or something.
That's kind of where I'm at.
But it's only, we're still in March. So we got a long way to go. So patience, analytics, see who you draft, see who becomes available. And I just don't think that there's anybody worth jumping out and getting to spend a lot of extra money. It's a bunch of
there's a bunch of
question
guys
marks
out there. You can go get Marvin Jones Jr., who's out there. He hasn't signed with a team yet. Randall Cobb hasn't signed with the team yet, which,
Randall Cobb's
I know.
Randall Cobb's 32, and it looks like he'll probably be on the Jets if
probably so.
Aaron Rodgers gets his
So
thing.
there are a few guys that are out there, but but the Titans look at it as, okay, those guys.
Julio's out there.
Yeah, Julio's out there. One of our texters said we should go back to Julio. Yeah. But these are guys that the Titans see. And they said, we're not going to rush to sign them. If they sign with somebody else, great. Fine, let them sign with somebody else. If they're there when we want to sign some guys maybe next month after the draft or whatnot, then okay, we may double back around and look at those guys. But we're not signing those guys right now. There's still weeks and months left. They may sign them before the draft. I don't know. But it seems like they want to wait until after the draft before they're going to address the wide receiver room via the draft. They are. I think they're going to draft maybe 1 for sure, but maybe 2 receivers. And then they're going to, after that, possibly supplement with free agents that are out there. But they're counting on their guys. And we talked about the guys that I believe they're counting on to have a bigger role next year for this team. So they're hoping those guys, what they see in the offseason, helps them determine what they do moving forward.
And also, does the price drop on some of these guys who are still sitting there in July going, man, I don't have a team yet? And where maybe they were hoping to get a 2-year deal, or maybe they were hoping to get $7 million, and now you can get them for $2 million or something like that. I think that's a factor with some of these guys. And you just wait it out. You got a list of guys you could live with. You need a veteran in here somewhere, but you're not going to overspend for any of the guys that are out there right now or have been out there the last couple weeks.
There is a name that has been tied to the Titans. I'm just going to say right now, no way. We'll get into that coming up next. We've got Ask D-Mase in 15 minutes. So get your calls, get your questions in for D-Mase, and the best question for D-Mase will win a nice little prize. So make sure to send those in. And also be caller 3 now to win a pair of tickets to see Bad Flower at Brooklyn Bowl on April 1st. Good luck with that. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Come on. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair. This week only, save up to 50% in every department, including all 4K TVs, appliances, laptops and tablets, speakers, and more. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The Famous Half Price Fair. It's first come, first served. Sale ends Saturday at 9 p.m. Hurry into any of our convenient locations. Plus, get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair ends this Saturday at 9 p.m.
Social Furniture's Spring Home Makeover Sales event is going on now with the latest styles and colors in stock, ready for immediate delivery and setup. If you don't need a fancy schmancy showroom or the stress of a high-pressure sales team, but you don't want to pay high-quality prices, come to Social Furniture. All top-quality furniture and mattresses are on sale now. Don't miss this Extreme Home Makeover Sales event that's going on now at Social Furniture.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the way I'm treated.
That's Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue. Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark at Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Hotel. Looking for a romantic dinner with that special someone? Be sure to join us and try one of our signature dishes, like our Australian cold water lobster tail, flash fried to perfection, and tossed in lemon butter. Did I also mention we've won the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence 7 consecutive years? Come join us for a memorable meal here at Omni and be sure to ask for Chef Mark.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, the game, and the Game Nashville app. We've got Ask D-Mase in 15 minutes. Get those questions in for D-Mase, your calls, your texts. Best question for D-Mase will win a nice prize, which we will reveal coming up next. But this week's Nashville Best Deal of the Week is East Side Bowl in Madison. This week, get 2 hours of bowling plus shoe rentals for up to 6 people for just $45. That is 2 full hours of bowling plus shoes for up to 6 people for just $45 at Eastside Bowl in Madison. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to get yours now. All of these free agent wide receivers are getting picked up. DJ Chark is headed to the Panthers. Who did I say is going to the Ravens?
Nelson Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar, thank you. Yes. There is one wide receiver who is not a free agent, but will most likely be on the market, that has been tied to the Titans. DeAndre Hopkins is unhappy in Arizona, and he will likely not be in Arizona in 2023. Benjamin Albright, who covers the NFL for sportsnot.com, tied DeAndre Hopkins to the Titans. So the Titans are one of the teams, including the Buffalo Bills, who have expressed interest in DeAndre Hopkins. Now, we know, if anything we have learned in free agency, that we learn every single year in free agency, that there are words that are used by agents that can be interpreted in a million different ways. Shopping being one of them. Showing interest in is another one. That's a spectrum that could mean a million different things. It could mean, Ryan Carthon picked up the phone, called his agent just to kind of dip his toes in the market. It could mean they're sitting down and having conversations. Expressed interest. I know that DeAndre Hopkins is one of those names that anyone who watches football, whose ears perk up when DeAndre Hopkins' name is in association with the team that they are a fan of. No for me on DeAndre Hopkins. No. I don't think that the Titans are in the business of bringing in a guy like D-Hop that carries the salary that D-Hop brings, and also the fact that D-Hop hasn't been 100% available over the last couple of years. I'm out on D-Hop. I know it's a name that everyone would be interested in. I know that his next landing spot is going to be covered ad nauseum by the national media. I'm out on DeAndre Hopkins.
At that number, what is he supposed to make this year?
In 23, he's due just shy of $20 million.
$20 million? Definitely not at $20
That is the
million,
base salary.
yeah.
Base.
And the cap hit is a nice $30.7 million. Now, if he's coming to a new team, I don't know. I know there's a lot of different ways you can do it to where, obviously you can't have him play at $30 million.
No.
That's we got to work on that one way or the other. So what would the cap hit be? That would be something to consider. He will be 31 for the season. Still really good, but he has not been the most efficient. He has not had his best last couple of years. Really, that whole offense for Arizona has been inefficient to a large degree. Yeah. They get yards. They're exciting. They look good at times, but at the end of the day, it hasn't been great. And like you said, he hasn't been on the field a lot, which starts happening to players at that age. So that's a cautionary tale there. So what are we talking? Like what would it take to get him? Like what's the market?
Obviously, the only way you're going to get him is if the Cardinals choose to release him, which I don't think they will do that. Arizona, that would be crazy. Or they will trade him. The trade is the more likely scenario in this situation. But if I am the Tennessee Titans, I would inquire about it. Why not?
Inquire.
What would it take? I'm not giving up a first. I'm not giving up a second, and I'm not giving up a third for him. So if that's what you want, then I need to hang up the phone. Nice talking with you. Good luck at trying to find a team that's going to help facilitate this move for you. I'm not giving up those 3. Maybe a third, maybe a fifth. Yes, definitely a fifth, maybe a third, maybe a fourth. But then I'm not paying that salary.
No.
I'm not paying all that salary. You need to pay half of it. I give him $8-9 million, somewhere around there. But I'm not giving him that salary, and I'm not giving you anything above more than likely a 5th-round pick for him. I love D-Hop.
He's so good.
He's the best. He's the best pass catcher I've ever seen outside of Chris Carter. A guy that and Fitzgerald. A guy that you know that when it touches his hands, he has total control of the ball. It's not many guys are like that. Like you throw it up and he just like Calvin Johnson too, another one. You just throw it to him. If it hits their hands, you're thinking more than likely, all right, let's call the next play for first down. That's what you're thinking. Or all right, let's send the kicking team in for an extra point. That's what type of guy he is, that when the ball gets near his hands, he catches it. How? I don't know, but he makes it happen. There's not many guys in the league over the course of the NFL, how long it's been in existence, that display the ability to catch the ball like him. There's probably a handful of guys, and he's the only guy right now that I can see. Maybe Odell Beckham, but he's injured and all this other stuff. But when the ball is thrown in his directions, more times than not, he will catch the football. So I say all that for this. If I am the Titans, I will inquire about it, but I will let it be known I'm not giving up what you may be asking for if you want to facilitate this trade. Now, if you're willing to give him up for a fifth-round pick and lower that salary, okay, let's do it. But I'm not paying him that much and then giving up first, second, third, fourth-round pick. I'm not doing it.
And Pac-Man Jones was on whenever we're getting to our NFL insiders, being Pac-Man Jones, we're in talking season. He was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe, and he's been kind of in the DeAndre Hopkins camp and said that he'd be willing to negotiate that salary, considering he's the one that went out of Arizona. But I'll say the same thing about D-Hop or any player. The same thing I said about Taylor Lewan potentially coming back to the Titans on a lower deal. I don't care if I'm paying you $5. I don't care if I'm paying you $500 million. If you can't be available, then that still creates another need. And DeAndre Hopkins has played 19 games the last 2 seasons. That's
suspension
just too much of a risk.
And injury. Well, he's suspended for the first 6 or 7 games this past season. Mm-hmm. 6 games. And then prior to that, he might have been hurt some games. So, but yeah, you're right. He had been available for whatever reason. You were not available.
Right.
Okay, so I'm looking at an article out of Buffalo because they're kicking this idea around of would Hopkins be a good fit for Buffalo. So I'm trying to look at.
I've heard they're kind of the leader in the clubhouse.
Okay, so what would you have to do to his contract to make it more palatable? Because like we said, the way it exists now, 30.7, we can't have that for sure. So the team acquiring, this is from the Buffalo News, the team acquiring Hopkins could reduce his 2023 base salary to the veteran minimum, convert the rest of the deal into a signing bonus, add 3 void years to the end of the contract, and bring the cap hit to a manageable $4.8 million in 2023. Does that come with some risk? Absolutely. But that sounds like more doable, right? But I don't know what kind of dead money are there. Does that push the can down the road? Do you get stuck with the big bill down the road if you do that with the voidable years? I'm not sure I know all the nuances, but it comes back to our central question. What do you think you can do this year in the AFC? How much of a difference would DeAndre Hopkins make based on what you would have to give up to get him, right? Are you giving up big assets to get him, or you just float a 4th-round pick and get him? I don't know if it's going to – it might take more than that to get him, right?
If you're asking Kevin Byard to take a pay cut, I don't know what kind of message that would send to go out and get D-Hop and give up what it would take to get him.
But it's not even – I don't think you can look at it from that standpoint.
But don't you think Kevin Byard would?
Possibly, but as a team, you don't look at it because he can also say, well, why are you paying Jeffrey Simmons that much money? You can pay Jeffrey Simmons, but you're asking me to take a pay cut. He can say that too. So it doesn't matter who and how much they're giving people. To me, if they gotta bring, regardless of, because people are just looking at because it's Kevin Byard and he's still playing really good football, and they asked him to take a pay cut, and he said no, and rightfully so. He can do that because he's still playing good football. But that doesn't mean that the Titans can't go out and sign other people for big contracts. They're about to get ready to sign Jeffrey Simmons. So they're not sitting here saying, well, we can't sign Jeffrey Simmons until we get Kevin Byard to lower his salary cap, or we can't sign Jeffrey Simmons until we get a restructure from Tannehill, or get Derrick Henry to do this. No, they're not. They're just saying we need to lower your money we are going to pay you. That's all because we don't believe the position is warranted possibly at making that much. Now, we'll still pay you, but not that much. But that doesn't mean we're not going to go out and sign other guys.
Right.
We are.
But I still come back to where are you in the universe right now? The Bills, where are they? Just lost, ticked off, thought they might have been the best team, couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Load up one more. It's like their Julio Jones move almost, right? Get me DeAndre Hopkins no matter what. They're floating around second-round pick, third-round pick, maybe one other asset in there. Maybe you take a salary off the books. Arizona wants to balance the books a little bit. They want to get the salary off of their thing. But the Bills are in the go-for-it mode. I'm not sure the Titans are in the go-for-it mode.
Ask D-Mase is coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Get your questions in for D-Mase. Call, text. The best question for D-Mase will win a pretty great prize, and we will reveal what that is coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I think it's a really good move.
TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, March 25th as your Nashville Predators take on the Seattle Kraken in support of Hockey Fights Cancer. $10 for every ticket sold will be donated to the 365 Pediatric Cancer Fund. Purchase your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Eastside Bowl in Madison, a vintage bowling alley, music venue, diner, lounge, and arcade designed by locals for locals. And March 28th, don't miss the Battle of Nashville, Nashville's best Rage Against the Machine tribute band. Right now, you can get 2 hours of bowling plus shoe rentals for up to 6 people for just $45. That's 2 hours of bowling plus shoes for up to 6 people, just $45. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to get yours now.
All of us at Cromwell Media, who owns this radio station, are recognizing 2 special teammates this month. Andrea Kamer is celebrating her 16th year as our corporate business manager. It's no secret, Andrea is the glue that holds everything together around here. And we're saluting Caroline Fenton, one of our stellar co-hosts of the Midday Show on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, as she wraps up her 2nd year with us. Andrea and Caroline, you are what makes this a special place to work. Want to join our team? Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
D-Mase. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Garrett Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mase is brought to you by Curation CBD. Find their healing products at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD products curated for life. Use promo code D-Mase, D-M-A-S-E, at CurationCompany.com for 25% off Curation CBD products. Now, the best question for D-Mase will win a pair of 4-day passes to Louder Than Live Festival in Louisville, Kentucky, September 21st through 24th. D-Mase, without further ado, let's get into it. Devin is on the line. What's up, Devin?
Hey, listen there. The Titans, they are taking Jackson Smith-Njigba at pick number 11. I'm sure of it. But, D-Mase, is it a good idea, bad idea? I just want to hear your elaboration, man. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Devin. You must have been listening to our show yesterday because we spoke about Jackson and his ability to play the receiver position. But is he a top 11 pick in this year's NFL draft? He's essentially a slot guy and smooth route runner, catch the ball very well, not explosive, got good speed. I don't think you draft him at number 11. I just don't. I like his talent, but not at 11. If the Titans somehow, some way finagle a trade, move down in the draft, and acquire some more picks, and they're sitting at 20-something, then yeah, if he's there, I think he's more, that's the value for him is at 20, because if somebody else chooses to draft him before number 11, there are other guys. I like Jordan Addison. I like the kid out of Boston College. They do the same things that the Ohio State kid does. So, there's nothing about him that stands out like a Garrett Wilson, guys like that got drafted last year. He's a good player and deserved to be drafted in the first round, but he's not a top 11 pick.
You've watched the tape and evaluated the wide receivers with first-round grades. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. Do you think that any of them should be taken at number 11?
No, I don't think any receiver this year should be taken that high. There's just, even a kid out of TCU, he's a big kid at 6'2", 6'3", but at times he doesn't play that way. I had a discussion with TD about, just certain receivers, and, his name came up. So I don't think any of these receivers, not to say that I think there are some first-round receivers in this draft, and Jackson is one of them, but that high, no.
Sylvia in Clarksville texts in. Phone lines are MaywellsandCountyHunter.com. Says, D-Mase, if you could create your ideal offensive line from your past teammates, who would you choose?
Oh, man. All right. I would have to start with Big J.O. I'm sorry, B-Hop. I'm sorry. But I have to put Big J.O., Jonathan Ogden, in my left tackle. I put B-Hop had to swing to the right. I put B-Hop at right. Give me Munch at guard. Well, I didn't play with Munch, but he was on the coaching staff, so I can't put him in. Man. Give me Bruce at center or guard. Because Bruce played all 5 positions. Bruce Matthews, he played all 5 positions. So give me Bruce at guard. I'll put Bruce at guard. So we have Jonathan Ogden at left tackle, Bruce at left guard, B-Hop at right guard. Now I need my right tackle and my center. Man. Oh, boy. Give me give me Benji and Zach, but both of them play guard. So,
we'll allow it
give
under
me,
the rules of Ask
Give me
D-Mase.
Stepnoski.
Come on, you make up your own
give
rules.
Me, yeah, give me Stepnoski
Pick who you want.
at center because he did play center. And it's a toss-up between Zach and Benji. Oh, my goodness. Just toss up one of them. Both of them are star. One played the first half, one played the second half. Give me Benji. I like Zach too. No, that's too much. No. No, but both of those guys, any one of those guys can play that right guard position for me. So I think that's an offensive line. And if I'm missing some guys, forgive me, because I played with some really good players that played along that offensive line, whether it be here or in Baltimore. So, but my two tackles would be B-Hop and Jonathan. One of my guards would be Bruce Matthews. Center Stepnoski, and then at right guard, I don't know. Or we can flip Bruce to right and make the left whoever.
It's a good problem to
have.
have.
It's a good problem to have.
Let's think about
what
Bruce
do you
Matthews.
think? What do you think about that, Willie? Because you were here with all when all these guys were here.
I was always amazed at how Bruce Matthews could be plugged in almost anywhere on the line as he aged. So, look, I don't think you can go wrong. I like the guys. I'm glad you mentioned Stepnoski. I thought he was really good. I just wish if he were a couple years younger, he might have been the perfect center for the 99 team. But he, I think, went free agent right before. He was never a Titan in the Titan uniform. He was a Tennessee Oiler.
And, he came over with the Oilers, And
that's where they discovered, and he ended up doing a great job, Kevin Long.
Yeah,
7th round draft pick who jumped in there.
Kevin Long was great at center, too. Yeah. So it's like, hell. Hey, you can only pick one. I mean, can we have two offensive lines playing?
You need depth.
Exactly.
What
was that caller? That texter? What was it?
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Okay.
All right, we got one here from Wes. D-Mase, if you could pick a team this year, let's say D-Mase is a free agent. If you could pick a team to play for, who would it be and why?
Oh, man.
You want to bring a championship to Buffalo. That's what you want.
It would be.
You're the guy. Say, forget this DeAndre Hopkins. I'll pay you for less money. I'll join in there. I'm going to put Josh Allen over the top. He needs me.
Nope.
That's you.
No, thanks.
No,
D-Mase?
I'm not. I don't want to go.
Sign me up. You don't want to go to Buffalo.
Either Kansas City or Cincinnati. You got two of the best quarterbacks. I mean, listen, and probably Cincinnati, because I can be the third or fourth guy and still end up winning a Super Bowl. So they wouldn't have to count on me much because you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, you got Tyler Boyd. Mason, come in here and catch about 2 passes a game and you're good. With Kansas City, I might have to play a little bit more. I may not be up to that right now. So.
You don't want to pop a hammy.
Exactly.
It's a high tempo they play with there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I might not be up to that right now. But, yeah, those two teams I would.
And I think that Bengals locker room would be a fun one to hang out in.
Oh, man. Absolutely. Those young boys, man.
AG is on the line. What's up, AG?
Yeah, I'm just like, is we dead down on receivers? We just took a receiver with like the 5th draft pick or something, whatever draft pick last year. All I'm saying is, can we not take a receiver with the 2nd or 3rd or 4th pick and still be decent? Because like I said, have we gave up on our 1st round pick from last year? How we feeling?
Thanks for your call, AG. Titans haven't given up on Traylon Burks.
No,
I don't think. You need more than one receiver.
AG, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. They haven't given up on Traylon Burks. Actually, I think they're more excited for this upcoming season in regards to Traylon Burks because they saw they saw actually the potential. There's one thing to draft a guy, see what he did in college, and then you're like, man, I hope that he can, be that for us in the pros. It's another to have a first-year guy and to see the things and the potential he's showing you and he gets hurt, but then it's still there. So that next season you're thinking like, wow, we got something special here. By no means have they given up on Traylon Burks. Again, I think they're more excited about him this upcoming season than they were last season. They just need to add more guys to him, and we're going to continue to say that until they start doing that. But as we talked yesterday, Caroline, guys like Racey McMath, this is your year. This is your offseason to prove that you can be a contributor in this receiving core. Kyle Phillips, this is your opportunity to show that, you're ready to go this next upcoming season, that you've got your body ready to play a full NFL season.
More of your calls, texts, and questions for D-Mase coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs. See the ball. Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Hey, time to tell you about Lead Company. During the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to touch on the Predators and their big win last night against the Kraken. They play the Kraken again tomorrow afternoon. Big day for Pekka Rinne. Lead Company is right alongside with our great radio coverage, hosted by Max Hers tomorrow at noon. Now, Lead Company also has all of your needs when it comes to your house or your business, when it comes to maintenance or their bread and butter, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. I'll say it again. It's Friday. And pretty soon in the coming weeks, you're going to need to crank that air conditioning up. Have you had your air conditioning unit checked in the last couple of years? If not, call Lead Company. Perfect opportunity to start the relationship with them and see what they've got going for you. 615-567-1000. That's 615-567-1000. Or go to leadcompany.com and make an online appointment. They've got their best. The Donick household has been using their home maintenance plan for years now. So we will have our air conditioning unit checked once a year. And also with the home maintenance plan, the plumbing, electric, and heating systems get checked annually as well. Lead Company, proud sponsor, Nashville Predators.
Spring in and style up with huge savings on top athletic brands at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin. Stay active this spring with up to 70% off the athletic styles you love. Shop deals on thousands of styles from top athletic apparel and footwear brands, like $10 tees, tanks, and shorts for the family, $20 swimwear, $20 golf polos, and running footwear for $60 or less. Find incredible deals and incredible style at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin at Watson Glen.
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce April 3rd through 6th for an exclusive look into what makes Nashville the IT city. Whether you're new to town or a Nashville native, Intro Nashville gives you the opportunity to become engaged and connected to our city's community. During this multi-day immersive program, you'll hear from over 20 community leaders and industry experts whose storytelling unlocks a comprehensive view of our city and region. Gain historical and economic perspective on Nashville while establishing relationships with local business leaders. Register now at intronash.com.
If you compare a diamond from Genesis Diamonds to one you find somewhere else, one thing will always stand out. The Genesis diamond is, well, prettier and more brilliant.
We will show you why our diamond's light performance is significantly greater than things you can get elsewhere.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
Not just because of the color and the clarity, but because of things a certificate can't tell you. Because of the characteristics, the personality, the material.
It's the extra step in quality control that comes from an owner obsessed with perfection.
Our owner is incredibly picky when he buys diamonds, searching through hundreds just to get a handful. You will not see diamonds that have the fire at your average mall store or chain store or smaller independent because they don't have the access worldwide like Genesis Diamonds does. Our diamond's light performance, character, and explosive brilliance is bar none the best your money can buy.
Don't compromise with a diamond that just looks good on paper. Get a diamond that reflects your love in the best light possible.
This diamond has to be spectacular.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
D-Mase.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mase is brought to you by Curation CBD. You can find their healing products at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD products curated for life. Use promo code D-Mase, D-M-A-S-E, at CurationCompany.com for 25% off Curation CBD products. Remember, the best question for D-Mase will win a pair of 4-day passes to Louder Than Life Music Festival in Louisville, Kentucky, September 21st through 24th. Let's get into those questions for D-Mase. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. John is up next with a question for D-Mase. What's up, John?
Not a lot. I got something I'm going to try to blow D-Mace's socks off if I can. And it can happen. It's always a possibility.
Let's go.
Let's say, all right, let's just say it's almost to the final hour. The phone rings. Uh-oh. This is a great offer for Derrick Henry. They're going to take all of his salary. They're offering you a second and third round picks. You want to think a little bit, so you hang the phone up. Well, you thinking, boom, phone rings again. Another team's called. They're taking Mr. Tannehill's, all of his salary money, too. They're going to give you a first and fourth. Are you going to do it, or are you going to let it go?
Thanks for your call, John.
Thank you, John. First and fourth for Tannehill.
And the salary.
And second, and what he said, third?
Second and third for Henry.
For Henry. Hell yeah, I'm taking it.
Heck yeah.
Why not?
I'm taking that deal. Hey, you want me to pack them up for you? All right, I'll pack them both up. Henry, I love you, but they're giving me a second and a third for you. And they're taking on your money.
A first for Tannehill.
And they're giving me a first.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I love them. I love them both. But this is business now. Here. See ya. What did you say? Don't let the door hit you when the good Lord split you?
Exactly.
Damn. See ya. As much as you like them, but because that's a deal you just can't pass up. Both of them veteran guys. Both of them more toward the tail end of their years. That's like a Herschel Walker deal.
They will never
get
that type of offer
I know.
for those two guys. As great as those guys have been. I mean, those are core. Those are your guys. That's your heartbeat for the last few years. But where they are in their career, the money, their contracts, they're not going to get that for them.
Yeah.
There are very few deals in the NFL that I think when they hear them, the GM's like, oh, hell yeah. Because those are no-brainer deals.
Exactly.
And you don't know, you're not going to have somebody overpay for something like that. But for Tannehill,
those are one of those deals that, okay, here, take them.
All right, here's one, and I'm trying to find a name here. I don't think I have one. But, D-Mase, what was the first thing you splurged on after getting your first NFL contract?
What did I? Oh, man. Well, we end up building a house. That's the first thing we did. End up building a house.
I don't know if you call that a splurge. It's like
it's
practical. Like that's
practical.
smart.
Yeah, we were getting ready to. We wanted to move anyway, so we ended up purchasing a home. And then after that, we set up. And this is honest. We set up the kids' college funds, and put some money, for my nieces and nephews, and that was it. And then, I already had a car. I think I ended up buying a car like the next following year or something like that. But, that was
Smarter than me. The first thing my mind went to was a Louis Vuitton purse that I picked out.
It's funny.
Not to say we didn't probably get some clothes or went on a trip or something.
Nice shoes or something. I don't know. That's. I'm sure they were looking for an answer like that. Yeah. What's funny is I remember when I was playing in the minors for the Blue Jays, you always knew who got the big signing bonus by the cars in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Lamborghini or Camaro, like – that's what they did. They took the big signing bonus. They went out and
somebody
splurged.
Got some new money.
Yeah, and it probably wasn't very smart
to
do
but
that.
they look cool doing it.
They look great in the parking lot.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I came in with my 1990 Honda go-kart looking thing.
Gets you from point A to point B.
You knew what round I was drafted in.
Weston is on the line with a question for D-Mase. What's up, Weston?
Yeah. Hey, Derek. Just quick question for you regarding some rumors and stuff about Lamar possibly being linked to the Titans. Wanted to think about your thoughts there, bringing him in and maybe mentoring Malik Willis, and maybe that be a solution. And then also, if that works, maybe with the 11th pick going after somebody like Quentin Johnson or Jordan Addison, somebody of that nature. What's your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Weston, for the call. In a perfect world, that is great. Bring Lamar over. Send Tannehill to Baltimore. Draft these guys, and off you go. But as we know, the world's not perfect, so
it's not happening.
It's not happening, and one reason it's not going to happen, I think, is because Baltimore has still got him under contract, whether it's that tender, the franchise tag on him. He's still under contract with the Baltimore Ravens. And it's going to take a lot to pry him out of Baltimore. That's one reason. Two, I don't think the Titans are going to be willing to give up what they need to give up to get him. You may have to give up this year's first-round pick, and you don't want to have to do that. You're going to have to give up another first-round pick. You don't want to have to do that. As good as he is, you're giving up too much, and then you have to pay him guaranteed money. So, in theory, it sounds great. In a perfect world, that would be great, but it's not going to happen. So, I think everybody's inconsistent.
I still stick with my thing. Lamar Jackson will be quarterback in the Ravens.
He will.
Yeah.
He will. Austin Texan says, Mason, are you worried the Titans will just look to the draft for a wide receiver and not get a veteran to come in? If they go that way, doesn't make the team worse because of the lack of a veteran presence.
See, I guess this I can understand that question one or two ways. And first off, no, I am not worried because I think they're going to go get a receiver in the draft regardless. And they need to. So that's going to happen. Now, when you say bring in a veteran guy, am I scared they're not going to bring in a veteran guy? Do you mean a veteran guy that's going to help immediately, or do you just mean a veteran guy that's just adding to the depth of the team and just going to play a role? Or which one are we talking about? Because both, can happen. It can bring in a receiver that they want to be their number two and want to have a huge role in what they're doing. And they also can say, well, no, we just want to bring in a receiver for depth purposes to be our 4-5 player list special teams add on to the depth. A good player can serve a role on our team and help us, but we're not looking for him to be, at the end of the season, 800-900 yards, 7-8 touchdowns. We're not looking for that. I think they do go out and get a receiver via the draft and free agency. Now, I don't think there's no free agent. I don't think there's no free agent wide receiver right now, other than probably OBJ, that you don't have to give up something for. That's what I'm saying. OBJ, and that's really it. That's going to come in and significantly boost your receiving core. Right now, OBJ is the only guy that can do that. But I'm worried with him about the potential injury, history that he's had, and then the monies that you would have to pay him. You ain't got to give up nothing for him because he's a free agent. But how much money does he want in order to come here? That would be my question.
And it's a fair question to ask. And how much would they be willing to put forward?
Exactly.
Questions for D-Mase. Appreciate y'all for sending in your text, your calls, your questions for D-Mase. Coming up next, it's a monumental day for the Nashville Predators organization tomorrow, for the state of Tennessee, for the city of Nashville. And the person who is making that come to life will join us coming up next. Scott Wise, who has made Pekarine's statue, will join us coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra results vary.
We do screen printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do embroidery.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do large format printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do promotional goods.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do graphic design.
Music City Screen Prints.
MCScreenprints.com. That's MCScreenprints with an S.com. 615-866-6010.
You think it, we print it.
The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair is going on now. Hurry in and save up to 50% on anything in the store. It's first come, first serve. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair going on now.
Now, your Game Center update.
I'm Nick Keyser. The Nashville Predators took down the Seattle Kraken 2-1 last night. No thanks to Philip Tomasino, who scored the game winner. Here's how it sounded on the Preds radio network.
Tomasino comes in down the right side, hesitates, he scores! Predators win it! The Predators win in the shootout here tonight.
Nashville will take on Seattle once more tomorrow with puck drop at 1 p.m. with pregame at noon. Pekarine's statue will be unveiled tomorrow morning outside Bridgestone Arena at 10 a.m. The madness of March continued last night. Julian Strother hit a shot from the logo with 7 seconds to play, going up 78-76, taking down UCLA. Gonzaga advances to back-to-back Elite Eight appearances. And FAU took down the Vols last night, scoring 40 points in the second half, winning 62-55. The Owls have now advanced to their first Elite Eight appearance in school history. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. Now, it's a monumental day for Nashville Predators fans, for the city of Nashville, for the state of Tennessee tomorrow, as Pekarine's statue will be revealed at Bridgestone Arena. Now, this is the first ever statue of a professional athlete in the state of Tennessee. And joining us now is Scott Wise, who constructed Pekarine's statue. Now, Scott, Scott, you have had the opportunity to create some really special statues and works of art. You're a Clarksville native. You were able to honor your hometown of Clarksville after the tornado in 1999. You are a firefighter, and you got to construct a statue to honor some of the fallen firefighters in the state of Tennessee. And now you are tasked to create a statue of Pecorine. What did this project mean to you, considering you have so many very emotional statues and works of art in your repertoire?
Oh, it's huge. It's because I'm a huge Predators fan since day one. So, and especially with it being Pekka, because he's such a humble guy, and everybody just loves Pekka and all the things that he's done for the community and for keeping, in my opinion, sort of kind of keeping the hockey club in Nashville. And as a fan base, I just hope that, everyone likes it as much as I enjoyed building it.
Walk us through the process from the very beginning until now. Tomorrow it'll be unveiled. What has that process been like from the very beginning until now?
Well, they're building a new arena here in Clarksville, the F&M Arena, or F&M Bank Arena. And being a Preds fan, I wanted to have the possibility of, some artwork outside. And then I got to thinking, well, there's really not, there's things out in front of the Bridgestone, but I thought it'd be great to have, some artwork. I didn't really know what kind. So anyway, I had sent an email through the ranks of the Preds organization probably 2 years ago now. And not that it fell on deaf ears or anything, but they just hadn't had any plans of doing anything like that. And just over a year ago, I got in contact they got in contact with me, and they decided that once Pekka had retired, that was something that they wanted to do. So we started through the process of, poses and different things like that. And then I do what I do as far as the sculpting of the clay, and then going through those processes of going through making the pose that they wanted, and then it goes to a foundry. It goes in clay, and then it goes into bronze, and now it's finished. But that took over a year.
We'll talk with Clarksville native, Scott Wise, who has been tasked to sculpt out a massive sculpture bronze statue of Pecorine, one of Nashville's Predators' famous players, and arguably a guy that, while he was playing, he kept it all together for the Nashville Predators and helped them go on that run in 2017. But Scott, when you are tasked to do sculptures and statues like this, whether it be Pecorine or you're erecting things for Clarksville and what they went through during tornadoes and memorializing fallen firefighters, as you are one yourself. How emotional is that for you?
Oh, I'm a detailed person anyway, so it's, it hits home, especially the firefighter pieces, and then being such a big fan of the Preds. It's really hard to explain, really. It's just, I want to make sure that they're right. Mm-hmm. So I'm so detailed about it. I live and breathe it, till it's finished or till I'm satisfied, and then hopefully everyone else is.
So, Scott, how many people have seen it at this point? Like, we're all I saw Pekka yesterday. He says he has not seen it. He said it on our broadcast. He hasn't seen it yet. So how many people besides you know have seen the finished product?
I would seen the guys at the foundry, the ones that actually cast the piece. So there's 3 or 4 of those guys, but that's up in Indianapolis, so they're a little bit out of the area. But within the area, I would say maybe I'm going to go with 3 to 4 people.
Wow.
I've only seen photographs. I am the only one that's seen it actually in person.
Wow, that is exciting. All right, so Scott, I can only imagine what this is like when you're about to show this to everybody tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and it's open to the public. I hope a lot of people come down. I know a lot of people are coming down there. So you also said you've been a day one fan of the team. So what about the emotions tomorrow of the moment where you unveil this thing? Plus, you got a pretty big game. I mean, if the Predators win this game, it's good things are happening. So what about the nervous level for both?
Well, they're both extreme. Probably more of the unveiling for me. Just like I said, I enjoyed it so much creating the piece that I just hope everyone else enjoys it just as much. And from now on, I mean, it's in bronze. It's going to be here.
It's going to be here. I saw.
Hopefully, it pleases everyone.
I know it's going to work out well, Scott. You are the right guy to do this. I love the backstory of you've been involved. It's perfect. Because you've been watching for so long. So I think everybody's just going to dive into this thing. I am curious. You said it, and this is, I'm sure, something that all artists, grapple with when they're putting this together. You said, look, I want this to look like Pekka, right? So how did you go when you were going through that process? What are some of the things you tried to do to try to do it that way?
Oh, portraiture is always the most difficult, especially with someone that's still alive. I mean, they're right there, so it has to be right. And with let's see, I'm trying to think. It was at the end of February last year. With the Stadium Series game, I had about an hour and a half with Pekka, and we took probably over 200 photographs all the way around him. So I worked from those photographs. And the body, I got to use his gear, which was a great help. But when it came to the portraiture, I ended up cutting his head off and bringing it from my studio. I actually brought him home. And my stepdaughter is such a huge Pekka fan that I would have her come out, and my wife as well. They would come out into the little garage area where I was working on him. And when they were like, I don't think. Well, when they came out that last time and said, "Oh, it looks just like Pekka," I said, "All right, I'm stopping."
Okay, there you go. So you had good people around you that helped you do it. All right, before we let you go,
sure.
You mentioned you've been a fan for a long time. What got you into Predators hockey? How did you become a fan?
Oh, I used to love going to the Knights games.
Oh, wow!
Nights. So yeah, it was back.
I probably saw you at a game at some point. There.
Yeah, you probably did. Yeah, it was, and I had family, in Chicago. Actually, my uncles and stuff. And that was actually the first game I ever saw was a Blackhawks game. So, and when they came to Nashville, I was like, "All right, it's on now," and I hope they stay from now on. So, and like I said, I've been there. I caught only one game that first season, but it got more and more every season. So,
awesome.
Really, it was just like I said, the Knights.
The old Knights. That was the old Municipal Auditorium, and
yes, sir.
Who knew when I was in college going out to those games? Like someday we're gonna have an NHL team here. I never would have thought that back then, but here we are.
I never would have either.
Back in the day, Scott Wise, Clarksville native, diehard Nashville Predators fan, who is tasked with creating Pekka Rinne's bronze statue that will be erected in front of Bridgestone Arena and unveiled tomorrow. Appreciate you for joining us, and enjoy the day tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Go Preds.
Coming up next, appreciate you for joining us. Coming up next, I want to get into just how massive of a day this really is for Predators fans, for the Nashville Predators franchise, for Pekka Rinne, and plus the Predators got a win last night, what that means for the playoff standings, all that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Quaz with Little Harpeth, and I'm just having one of our Chicken Scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken Scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft lagers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
We pride ourselves on being transparent, opening up the books, and sharing all the secrets of the diamond industry. We have a passion for this, and part of having a passion is sharing that passion.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper says, at Genesis, you don't just get an entry-level course in diamonds, you get a PhD.
We love educating our customers, even over-educating our customers about diamonds and gemstones, so they can truly see the difference in what we offer.
At Genesis, diamonds are not a side business. It's their only business.
We eat, breathe, and sleep diamonds.
So whether you end up buying at Genesis or not, come for the education.
The better educated we can make you at Genesis Diamonds, the better a shopper you're going to be, whether you shop with us or anyone else. You will be able to tell the difference and know what you are buying, so you make the best decision for you.
Genesis Diamonds, proud to offer one of the largest selections of GIA certified diamonds in the nation, with no middleman markups, no retail pricing games, no commission salespeople, and no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game in the Game Nashville app. Appreciate Scott Wise for joining us in the last segment. Scott Wise is a Clarksville native, diehard Nashville Predators fan since day one, and he had been tasked with creating Pekka Rinne's bronze statue, which will be revealed tomorrow when the Predators take on the Seattle Kraken at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday afternoon. And I'm new to Nashville. I've never claimed to have been here from the very beginning, but I have done everything that I could to, read up on the beginnings of the Predators and the beginnings of the Titans and some of those teams and the history of the teams. And I can do as much research as I can, but it's not the same as actually being here and experiencing it in real time. But even just in my short time in Nashville, I've been here for 2 years. My very short time in Nashville and the one season that I was here for before Pekka Rinne retired, even in just that short time, I realized and recognized just how important Pekka Rinne is to this town, how important Pekka Rinne is to this franchise and will continue to be to this franchise. And it was just in a short period of time. So I know the people that have been around since the late 90s, since the very beginning of the Nashville Predators organization, and then when Pekka Rinne was brought into the Predators, just how much he means to this city. I felt it just in a few short months, and I know everyone who has been here from the beginning can feel it as well. And it's a special day for Pekka, and it's a special day for this franchise.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Pekka is such a one-of-a-kind guy. He rolled in yesterday to the rink, and the team didn't know he was there. He walked in. The broadcast crew we're just sitting around waiting for the morning skate to end to do our pregame interview chat with Coach Hines. And it was just unbelievable as the players and coaches one by one came off the ice and saw him, how their eyes just lit up. I mean, it's amazing his effect on everybody around him. He's just one of those guys that he just has that energy around him, and he doesn't even try, right? He's just such a nice, easygoing guy. It just happens, right? So there's nobody that's at all envious or jealous or anything. Everybody just, this is what feels natural for this kind of day to happen tomorrow. And I couldn't help but think about UC Saros last night. Played really, really well. I mean, there's so little margin for error for this team right now with the guys that are hurt and are unavailable and where they are, but they keep scrapping. And UC Saros is keeping him in games. He was fantastic last night. I kept thinking, man, this must be fun for Juice, right, to look up there and say, okay, got another one there, because he's learned so much from Pekka Rinne.
It must be so cool for Pekka to be up there watching UC Saros, considering he was his mentor and they do have such a close relationship. How cool that must be for Pekka to be watching him be so successful for this team.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen him. And I guess the neat part about it is because this doesn't happen to players in no profession, really. A lot of professions, you see a lot of guys moving around from this team to this team to that team, and then they finally settle and whatever. But when you see a guy, it's sort of like Bruce Matthews. Like Bruce was just and I bring his name up because we were talking O-line. It's like Bruce was a Oiler Titan through and through. It was just, he was drafted by the Oilers, ended his career with the Titans. Same owner, same organization in a sense. So he meant a lot because you were able to see his growth, and then you were able to see also the hard times he went through, the injuries, and how he continued to battle, and then ultimately he retires. It's same with Pekka. You saw him grow as a player, a young player, trying to figure it out, knew he had the potential, into this guy that was considered a top 3 or 4 goalie in the league, like one of the best goalies in all of hockey. Helping your team on this amazing run in 2017. And then watch him, have to pass the torch to UC Saros. You watch it. You watched all of it when he got the torch and when he passed it on. So it's just like, man, how can you not, embrace what he's meant and what he's done and the type of person he is? Because through it all, he's been a professional through it all.
Yep, that's the thing. He's just a guy you want to be around. So last year, the jersey hanging from the rafters, and then a year later, this. I mean, that's a lot for sure. So it's gonna be an emotional day tomorrow, and hopefully, once again, it'll inspire the team because it's another interesting test. They just trying to stay in the mix here, stay hanging around. They haven't gotten any help from Winnipeg here. They scrapped out a win last night. Winnipeg's got the easier schedule, as we talked about last night. If Nashville's going to creep a little closer, they've got to keep winning against good teams. They only play one game in their last 12 against a team that's completely out of the race. That's St. Louis. Everybody else that they play are either going to be in the playoffs or are very close and fighting for a playoff spot. Winnipeg has got an easier road, but they're still probably feeling the pressure. And every game Nashville can win and stay in it, they're going to apply more pressure. I think the Jets will feel more pressure, and I think I just admire that the Predators are still in the position they're in right now, because I envisioned this day about a month ago saying, be great for Pekka, but it's kind of a bummer that the team, I just thought the team would be way out of it by now, most likely. But the fact that this is a significant game is a feather in their cap.
Which is a totally rational way of thinking. Whenever at the trade deadline, you decide to trade away core players who had contributed for this team both this year and last, you'd think, okay, it's going to be the young guys. They're going to get some experience. It's not going to be the prettiest thing moving forward. But when you look at it from a macro perspective of the success of the team moving forward, moves that you had to make, it's just get over with this season, move on to next year, get some draft picks, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But
with the injuries on top of it.
With the injuries
Forsberg out, Carrier out, Johansson, Parsonen, and now Yossi. That's even more improbable that they're 10-4-2 in their last 16. I mean, just a tremendous job by that group.
Predators get the win in overtime last night, 2-1 over Seattle. And taking that game to overtime isn't the best thing, considering the playoff picture right now where it is. It's a game of inches. And Seattle is kind of right on the edge of the bubble of a wild card spot. But another crack at it tomorrow, no pun intended,
nice.
with the Seattle Kraken tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena. The Flames lose last night. The Preds are moving ahead in the playoff picture. What does it mean, this game tomorrow? What does this game mean, considering it's going to be a gauntlet moving down the stretch in the schedule? You got Boston, Toronto, Pittsburgh.
The Kraken right now, if you look at them, and it's to their credit, they just have not flinched. They have overachieved, I think, more than really any team in the West, given this is the second year of their existence. They've done a great job. And so just hanging on and getting a point for them makes it tougher for the Predators to catch them, even though the Predators win the game. So I think, for Nashville to have hopes of overtaking the Kraken, they really need a regulation win tomorrow to do that. So the Kraken, just to get a point, that helps their math. It keeps them with a decent cushion to hold on to one of the two wild card spots. So they're a little tougher to catch. The Jets are still the team mathematically. The Predators have played 3 less games. So the Jets still are catchable. Somewhere along the line, Nashville needs the Jets and or the Kraken to falter down the stretch. And Nashville's got to keep winning whenever they can. To sit there and say they're going to go 12-0, the Predators are not going to go 12-0. But if they can scratch out as many games, as many points as they can, if they can get to that 94-95 range, and one of those teams dips a little bit, you never know. But it's just one game at a time, right? Just keep going out there. Last night I was wondering, they didn't have Roman Josi. But who kept it together? Ryan McDonough played an amazing game. He broke up 4, 5, 6 huge plays. The guts that he plays with, the way he rubs off on these young guys, it is really something. So it's not only great to stay in the race this year, but what kind of influence is he having on the younger guys like Fabro and Tomasino? And it's just valuable stuff that they're gaining out of this.
Absolutely. And I think the Predators are in a very comfortable position now where every single game matters in terms of the playoff race and in terms of getting these guys experience. But overall, you can take it one day at a time because there are no expectations for this team. The expectations are, hey, if you can get to the playoffs, you can get to the postseason, you absolutely are exceeding expectations. If you don't, nobody expected it anyways, and you just move forward. But at this point, it's all about tests and learning lessons. And John Hines spoke on the difficult stretch that the Predators have moving forward and what the young guys can take away from it.
And I think when you look at even the upcoming schedule, 2 at Seattle, at Boston, at Pittsburgh, those are all heavyweight teams that are in the playoffs. Pittsburgh's fighting for a playoff spot, but they're an elite team. Now the challenge is really going to come. How do we handle those style of games, those type of teams, night in and night out? We also have Toronto on Sunday. So we have some heavyweights coming into play, and the style of game is going to be really, really demanding. And that's the challenge we have to face. We're going to try to help those guys through it, but I think that's where you realize how hard the league is going to be. But I'm confident that these guys are going to be they're going to be able to respond and handle it the right way.
Tough stretch, and it starts tomorrow against the Kraken in Game 2 of 2 in a homestand against Seattle.
You got to try not to look ahead, even though it's a lot of hockey. This is the other thing that I looked at. Now, going into last night, they had 13 games left over the final 23 days. So now it'll be 12 games left in the final 21 days. So that's a lot of hockey. It's a lot of hockey. There's some back-to-backs in there. So the games in hand are good, but you're having to roll out there a bunch. You got to save that energy. Are they going to get any of these guys back? And if so, when? These are all things to consider in the improbable task that they're trying to do. But again, the journey will have value for these young guys that are right in there. Who scores the game-ending goal last night in the shootout? Tomasino, right? It wasn't his best game. His line got neutralized pretty well. Duchesne, Tomasino, Glass. But Tomasino still was able to have something positive happen there. So that's a good thing. Dante Fabro, I think right now, is playing his best hockey of the year. Who's he playing with? Ryan McDonough. He's gaining huge valuable experience playing with a guy like that. He's learning from him. So that could really turn his career in the right direction. They know they're going to have him next year. So that's what John Hines has been talking about, meaningful games. And you can tell there's a little bit of loose. They're the underdog. He knows that they're underdog. Let's see how these guys go with. They're playing with like nothing to lose. They're not feeling the pressure that maybe some of these other teams are playing. They're not feeling the pressure that the Predator guys before the trade deadline might have been feeling. There was a weight on that team's shoulders. They've played better since they kind of released that weight a little bit. So that's a positive.
Predators in action tomorrow against the Seattle Kraken. And, of course, it's Pecorine Day. Puck drop is at 1 o'clock. We'll have all the pregame coverage at noon on 102.5 The Game. But head down to Bridgestone Arena tomorrow if you're able to watch the unveiling of Pecorine statue. Coming up next, one of the biggest NFL offseason storylines just got a whole lot more bizarre. And we will explain coming up next. And, of course, your phone call 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Saturday. Your Nashville Predators honor Pecorine by unveiling his statue.
Love these guys, love my teammates, love this city, and love the fans.
Then take on the Seattle Kraken. Coverage begins at noon on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now, it's a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? And intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Sunday.
The green flag, it's in the air, and we are underway.
The stars of the NASCAR Cup Series hit the left and right turns of Circuit of the Americas.
He's got a hood out in front, a door panel in front.
Coverage from COTA begins at 1:30 on 94.9 The Fan.
Checkered flag is in the air.
And the Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. So I think one of the biggest offseason storylines, and all of the biggest offseason storylines, revolve around the quarterbacks, which is to be expected. One of the biggest storylines is Aaron Rodgers, which is to be expected where his next landing spot will be. But ever since the Baltimore Ravens placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson got free reign to go test the market and see what other teams were out there, what they would be willing to pay Lamar Jackson. That has become the biggest story. I feel like every morning I turn on Get Up or First Take or Sports Center, that's usually the topic of conversation is, where's Lamar Jackson going to be? You know, who is going to be offering Lamar Jackson? Or if Lamar Jackson doesn't get offers, then what happens next? It's all fair discussions to have. Lamar Jackson is one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and if he doesn't have a landing spot, where his landing spot will be is going to be the topic of discussion. I'm still under the belief that he's going to be in Baltimore next year. I think that's at least how I feel. But there were some rumblings coming out that there was a representative for Lamar Jackson. Remember, Lamar Jackson does not have real representation. He does not have an agent. But there was a representative on behalf of Lamar Jackson that was calling around teams around the league, you know, just kind of dipping their toes in the water, seeing what they would offer, having those conversations. And then this memo came out from the league yesterday afternoon. I believe Adam Schefter was the first one to report it. It's a memo from the NFL Management Council. It says the NFLPA has been informed that a person by the name of Ken Francis, who is not an NFLPA certified agent, may be contacting clubs and attempting to persuade club personnel to enter into negotiations with or concerning Lamar Jackson, who is currently under a non-exclusive franchise tender with the Baltimore Ravens. What a friend, I have to say. You have a friend picking up the phone and saying, hey, you really should be in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. Basically, this memo from the NFLPA says, remember, any certified agent, so to speak, under the NFLPA cannot negotiate with NFL teams. And any NFL team that has done negotiating with this person, Ken Francis, who I'm assuming is a buddy of Lamar Jackson, if they decide to put an offer out for Lamar Jackson, that offer will be void. I just think this is such a bizarre turn of events with the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. I don't know if this has ever happened. I don't remember any time in the history of the NFL of some just random guy picking up the phone and calling NFL clubs, but I think it's a bad look for the negotiations for Lamar Jackson.
I'm reminded of the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. He can call every team if he wants to and say, hey, this is out there. You think the teams don't know that Lamar Jackson's out there?
They know.
They know. They know
Everyone knows.
They know what it would take to get him. They know what they're willing to pay, and the phone's really not ringing. So I'm really not sure what's going on here. Like, I don't – what difference does it make, I guess, of him doing what he's doing? I understand he's not certified, but if he were, would it make a difference? Really, at this point?
Probably not, because to your point, every team in the league, every GM in the league knows exactly what's going on with Lamar Jackson. And I don't know if there's any amount of coercing that anyone could do, whether it's a certified agent or whether it's Ken Francis, per Tom Pelissero, a Florida man who most recently was pitching a home fitness invention. It's always the Florida man.
The Florida man. You got to wonder. When it says that, then you got to wonder.
It's always the Florida man.
I went to high school in Florida. I can say that. I lived in Florida. But when you say a Florida man, I start laughing.
That's all you need to know is he's
There's
a Florida
man. There's some crazy stuff that goes on down there.
I don't know if there's any amount of coercing that a Florida man pitching a fitness invention is going to do to an NFL GM that makes them think, oh, you know what? We actually do want to fully guarantee Lamar Jackson $230 million. I forgot, but, good going on reminding me.
Well, it's gotten, muddy. There's tweets that Tom Pelissero put out, and then Lamar, commented on a tweet saying, stop lying. That man never tried to negotiate for me. And then, Lamar tweets out something else because now, come to find out, Ken Francis is a business partner of Lamar Jackson. And they put out this tweet, which said, Lamar put it out, my business partner Ken and I will be dropping some type of gym thing this summer, so stay tuned. So, it does muddy the water a bit because in a situation as important of a situation and as serious as a situation this is, you don't want to have someone that doesn't, know contracts. He doesn't have to be a NFL agent, but if you don't know sport contracts and all this other stuff, why is he calling teams on your behalf? If it is happening, I don't know if it's happened. It's speculations that he has been calling teams. Lamar said it didn't happen.
I think for the NFLPA to put out a statement.
Well, the NFL has to put that out. If it comes out that, if anybody says anything about it and it hits, like Tom Pelissero, he didn't say who gave him the information that this guy has been reaching out. But if it does, when it does come out from a reputable source, the NFL then has to come and say, hey, listen, this is what the deal is. He does not have the ability to negotiate contracts. He is not certified by the NFLPA to negotiate contracts for any player, let alone Lamar Jackson. So if this is indeed happening, please let us know, or don't speak to him at all. So the NFL has to put out that memo to protect their players, period. But, yeah, if this did happen, man, you're just muddying the waters even more, because you can't try to back channel the NFL. You can't try to back channel, well, hey, go ask that team over there what they think about. Well, that team is going to put it out there through a Pelissero or anybody else.
Yeah, they have ways of doing
exactly.
that.
They're going to put it out there if indeed it happens.
This isn't like wing-womaning.
Exactly.
Like one of your buddies to get a cute guy to go on a date with you.
Go talk to that girl or that guy for me and let them know.
This is the NFL.
Yeah, you're just muddying the waters even more. I have no problem with Lamar not having an agent. Why? Because if we are to believe what's out there, there's a contract that is out there for him that the Ravens are willing to give him, guaranteed. 3 years, at 40 plus a clip for 3 years, guaranteed. It's on the table. It's there if we are to believe what is being said. So he doesn't need an agent for that. That's still there.
Yeah.
Now, if you want more money or talk to other teams, either he needs to be, and I'm not saying he's not or he is, because I'm not in his camp. I don't follow Lamar around, and I don't know what he knows. But if you're not going to have an agent, you need to be well versed in each team that is going to potentially, well, hell, you need to be versed on all 32, and that's including yours, in regards to their needs, their wants, how, their salary cap, this and that and that and this. You got to be well versed like agents are, So when you go into a situation like this, you're well versed, you're well educated, you understand what they're saying, they understand what you're saying, you can get on the same page. That's where the agent helps out, because they understand they've been doing this for a very long time. Again, there's a contract on the table for you, guaranteed. You can take it. You don't need an agent for that. If we are to believe what's out there, what is it, $130-something million guaranteed for 3 years, somewhere around there. That last came out, and Lamar sent the tweet, and I turned down, $130-something million guaranteed, and he sort of a laughing emoji. But if that is indeed out there, then yeah, you don't need an agent for that, But if you want more, if you believe you are deserved more, and you probably are, more than likely, yeah, get as much as you can. You're going to be able to, you have to be able to negotiate that. It's not just, I want guaranteed money, you give it to me, that's it. No, you got to know all the particulars within that contract. Yeah, you can give it to the NFLPA, they'll read through it or whatnot. But as you're doing it yourself, and not to say that Lamar is not doing this, as you're doing this yourself, you have to be able to not only train, because you're going to be you're an NFL quarterback, so you got to put in the time training, and then you got to put it. So when are you getting sleep? When are you resting? Because while you're out working out and doing your thing, the agent is negotiating. Well, now while you're out doing your thing, nobody's negotiating. Now you got to come back and negotiate. So when are you resting?
Well, and to the point about the agent, you're right. The offer is on the table because Lamar's talent and his value to the Baltimore Ravens franchise, that's what got him that offer on the table. I think that the pro agent people look at it like, would we even be in this position if Lamar Jackson did have an agent? Because there have been offers made from the Baltimore Ravens that Lamar Jackson turned down. And I don't blame Lamar. He really did look like a genius when he decided to turn down some of those offers because he wanted to test himself against the market. He was like, nope, I want the quarterback market to elevate and keep pushing that cap up, and then I'll have my payday after Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and all those other quarterbacks get paid, because I'll get paid and my ceiling will go even further up. But I do wonder, how would things be differently if he did have an agent negotiating things for him? Would he be in this position with a non-exclusive franchise tag if he had an agent advising him, doing kind of the dirty work with the team and making those negotiations? I lean probably not. It's easy to say that since there's no way to prove that. But I would say we probably wouldn't be in this position. Lamar wouldn't be in this position if he had somebody negotiating on his behalf. But to your point, the money's on the table.
If I'm Lamar right now, the money's whatever it is, let's just say it's 130 over 3 years. How much is that? For a little bit over 40 per year, somewhere around there. Yeah. I am then saying, okay, if whatever you get over this 130 or 140, whatever you get over this, you can have 3 to 4% of that. You're not getting any of this 3 years 130 because I can just say, you know what? Fine, no thank you. Let me take it. Come on, Baltimore. Let me sign this. It's all mine. Let's go. I don't need an agent. So if you can get me over what I have already gotten myself, you get 3 or 4% of that. That's how I think you bring the agent in. And some agents may say, nope. Don't want to do it. But then some agents say, okay, come on.
Interesting proposal.
Yeah, like, come on, I take it. I take it from here.
But the biggest problem is, as we've been talking about, other teams know the position they're in. They could put all the work that they want into it and get him to sign and this agent can wow them with everything. They can put the offer out there. He signs the offer sheet. Ravens match it.
But then the agent still get the money he got over for him.
The agent does, but to make this happen, he's got to get the other teams interested enough to put that offer out there and feel like there's hope. When at the end of the day, how much hope are they really feeling?
If there's a Florida man calling, I don't know how much hope there really truly is.
Florida man.
Florida man. T's and P's to the Florida man. We've got 4 March Madness games tonight. The Sweet 16 will wrap up tonight. So let's go ahead and pick those games coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
White 85! Every team needs a quarterback.
White 85! Take!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the Twin Peaks E-Club and stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks. As a friend of the Peaks Club, you'll score free stuff and be updated on upcoming events and promotions. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com and sign up today.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win, they lose. Just invested a lot into this game. It was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6, Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We've got 4 Sweet 16 games. We picked the games yesterday. I think that I have all the games that we picked since the SEC tournament, throughout the entire NCAA tournament, all the games we've picked. I'm pretty sure I've gotten every single one of them wrong. And the one that I've gotten right was yesterday when I picked Kansas State, and I only did that just to stir the pot with D-Mase. So I am picking all of my games tonight, not with any sort of analytical breakdown, not with any sort of knowledge about the teams, because everyone I've done that with, I've gotten wrong. So I'm doing it simply based off of gut feeling and simply based off of trying to stir the pot, because that was the one time that it did me any sort of favors. So without further ado, let's pick some of these games. Nick Keyser, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, round 2, so hopefully we do better tonight, Caroline. Well,
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Game 1, Alabama versus San Diego State. Alabama, 7.5-point favorite.
I'm taking the Crimson Tide. Alabama is so freaking good. They've looked all good tournament. They've looked good all tournament long. They've looked good pretty much all season long. It's going to be hard to beat that team. Give me Alabama.
Well, I got Alabama in the winning the national championship, so give me Alabama.
Alabama is awfully good. So here's a little bit about San Diego State. They have the 6th best defense in Ken Pom. Really good, efficient defense. It's more efficient than their offense, but can they guard Alabama? Can they guard Alabama? And
that's the question.
Alabama's no slouch on defense, and San Diego State, not a great offensive team. And, of course, what league does San Diego State play in? The Mountain West that I was all over. They got 4 teams in. I don't know how. They didn't do very well except for San Diego State. So I believe the Aztecs will be exposed tonight by Alabama. I'll take it.
All right. Well, I think that's a pretty fair pick. Up next, Miami will take on Houston, and the Cougars are a 7.5-point favorite.
I think Miami is the most talented team in the ACC. I think they have more dudes than even Duke, right? They can, at their best, look really good. That being said, man, Houston has got the dudes. Houston has got unbelievable. They come at you. I mean, they're all over you when you get the ball. I mean, they are smothering, and they play at a real high tempo. I think Houston's the one team I picked to go to the Final Four that's still in it. So I think I got to pick them, right?
Ride or die with the
You got to
Cougs.
pick them.
Yeah.
I'm going with Houston. I would love to see that matchup of Houston and Alabama, even though I picked Alabama and Kansas to be in the championship game. But a Houston and Alabama matchup would be great.
So I said earlier, I think that we're going to come out of the Sweet 16 with one of the 1 seeds going down. This has not been a very kind tournament to the 1 seeds. And that's really based off of nothing other than just, I think that'd be fun. I think that would be fun to see, a 1 seed go down, especially a team like Houston that has been so good all season long. Really, to your point, they have the dudes. But Miami's got their fair share of dudes, too. I think that Miami has been, silently cruising under the radar of college basketball, that we haven't really given Miami a whole lot of looks. They've just been silently behind the scenes, been grinding and winning games. I'll take Miami with the upset. I'll take Miami to beat the Cougs.
There we go.
Well, yeah, and you want a 1 seed to go down tonight, apparently. So that might be the one team that we see get taken down.
I picked Alabama to win, so it's got to be Houston.
Okay. Well, our next pick is Princeton versus Creighton. And Creighton is actually a 10-point favorite tonight.
D-Mase, you go first.
Ooh. I'm going to go with the story of Princeton. Give me Princeton. Even though they're a 10-point dog, give me the underdogs in this one. I want to see Princeton and FAU in a championship game. No.
The NCAA would be buying up all the ramen because they're losing a bunch of money if it's Princeton FAU in the final.
Man.
Tough matchup. I would love to say. I think with my heart, I'm going to take the points in Princeton because I'm rooting for them. It'd be a lot of fun to see them win another one. But I think the days to prepare for what Princeton throws at you, that will help Creighton, right? For ever since they saw that draw open up, they'll be like, okay, get my assistants. Let's start working on what Princeton throws at you. The back cuts. It's similar to what Princeton did with Pete Carrill 30 years ago, right? Back cuts, spacing. If you're ready for it, if you're prepared for it, it's almost like preparing for the option in football when you play Navy or Army. Like, you better be ready or they'll make you look bad, right? If you're not prepared, it doesn't matter how much more talented you are. You get exploited. But I think Creighton is a well-coached team.
But for some teams, it's March Magic. And that's exactly what Princeton has been experiencing so far in the tournament, has been just total March Magic. But I do think sometimes with these Cinderellas, the 14, 15, 16 seeds that make their way into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, like we saw with St. Peter's last year, a 15 seed getting into the Elite 8, at some point the magic just runs out. Creighton is a really good team, and Princeton has been balling. I mean, they made Missouri look silly in the last round, but I'm going to take Creighton to win. I think at some point the magic is going to run out for Princeton. I think they keep it closer than 10 points, so I'd take Princeton plus 10, but I ultimately think Creighton advances.
All right, in our final game of the night that I have listed, Xavier versus Texas. The Longhorns are a 4-point favorite in tonight's matchup.
I don't know anything about either of these teams. I'm going to be real honest with everybody. Texas is a good team. I do know that. So my analytical breakdown of this, my expert opinion is I think Texas wins, and I don't know why.
Well, I had Xavier out by now. I think I had Texas out by now, but I had Texas going a little bit further than Xavier. So I say all of that to say this: I'm picking Xavier.
All right.
I think Xavier's a really good team. Sean Miller back there. He's been through the battles. Second tour of duty with the Musketeers. They will not be intimidated at all by Texas. What did you say the line was, Nick?
The line is 4 points currently on Superbook.
Texas by 4. I'll tell you what. I'll take the points in Xavier. Texas is really good. Dylan Dessou led the SEC in rebounding when he played for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hurt his knee, transferred to Texas. He's had a really good tournament so far. He had a huge second-round game. So he's playing well. Also, watch Jabari Rice. Sir Jabari Rice, number 10 for Texas. I don't know how to pronounce this. Sir Jabari. I don't know how to say his first name.
I thought you meant like he was knighted.
When you watch number 10 Rice, best shot fake in America. Don't take the fake. Don't take the fake. You're going to take the fake. He will make you take the fake. It's unbelievable. Watch him. He's really, really good. But I like Xavier in the points. I like the coaching matchup for Xavier. I'll take the Musketeers plus the 4.5.
All right, well, everybody enjoy the March Madness action tonight. We've got Florida Atlantic, Kansas State, UConn, Gonzaga on Saturday as the Elite Eight tips off on Saturday. That is going to do it for us today. Predators in action tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll have your pregame coverage starting at noon on 102.5 The Game. Stillman and Company is up next.
Hey, I want to say happy birthday to my baby, Bailey. She's 24 years old today.
Happy birthday, Bailey.
Happy golden year for my baby girl, Bailey.